Oh yeah, I saw that. Not.
And we're live.
Oh yes, we are. All right, so we're live. We got Grey Knight, who's talked to David and Joe, and we've got myself, who has talked to David and Joe, and we're doing another hangout today. So, yeah.
Hi, everybody.
And David's looking at something pink.
Oh.
Your secret's out.
It's my tablet case.
Whoa.
Yeah. He chose his favorite color. That's what happened.
Oh, yeah. No, like, what happened was,
He's
it
lying
was
to
the
you,
only
it's his
case at
favorite.
the bookstore.
Oh, I'm sure. The
Yeah.
only pink case at the bookstore.
I don't know. No case is always an option.
Then it gets all scratched up and smeared.
Nah, pink's a good color. I like pink.
Strong.
It's masculine.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so I don't have too many specific ideas in mind.
And you got a little feedback.
I saw it on my side.
Yeah, it's probably on our side.
Yeah, I'm using headphones, but I think you guys are hearing us live, right?
Yeah.
All right.
There's no delay like there usually is for me.
All right, so do you guys have any issues that you wanted to clear up from before?
What would you guys talk about?
Did you want to just talk about what we kind of discussed on the phone?
Sure.
All right, what do you want to talk about first?
Oh, we could clear up the slavery in the Bible thing with Joe.
The slavery in the Bible thing?
Right.
What about it?
Well, so Joe said that slavery in the Bible only was for 7 years and it was indentured servitude.
Joe?
We didn't. I don't think we ever got any clarification on whether it was or wasn't.
Actually,
No, we did.
I think we got a lot of clarification in the comments from the comment monsters who went
Right.
through the Bible and found a whole lot of good quotes and even other editions of the Bible. That's not the right word, but like I know looking at the King James version, the part where it said that you can't keep them cruelly or something to that effect. It said that in the King James version they explicitly say you can't keep other Hebrews, other Israelites, other Jews in this kind of cruel form of slavery. But people who are Gentiles, you know, that doesn't count.
And also, Joe's objection was that he said, well, it says it's not ruthlessly, but Joe, when he was reading that, he left out the fact that when he was talking about the Israelites, they can't keep them ruthlessly, and the Gentiles, which were the people we were talking about the whole time, were excluded from that.
Right, that's what I was trying to think of the word ruthlessly, so thank you. But yes, that's exactly the point that people were making in the comment section. In addition to a bunch of really great quotes, and great passages, so citations from the Bible. So, yeah, I don't think that that's actually accurate to say that it wasn't like the slavery that existed in pre-Civil War America.
Totally agree. I'm not sure. I think they might have just frozen Grey Knight. Oh, they're there.
Oh.
All right, guys. Did you get all that?
Yeah, we got it.
All right.
We got it. No.
So do you want to concede that point?
What? No, my
wanna
response. Like, okay.
Well, wait. Does Joe want to concede the point that we were saying that slavery in the Bible was talking about people who aren't Jews, it was for life, and it says nothing about not being ruthless? Do you want to just concede that? Because that's what it said.
Well, I'll put it to you this way: if it says, wait, restate that question so I make sure I'm understanding what you're saying.
You were claiming that slavery in the Bible initially, when you had the first discussion with Alex and I, you said that in the Bible that the slavery was indentured servitude is on for 7 years. I said it was for life, and then we looked it up. We found out it's not 7 years. It is for life. And then when you read that, you went to a point in the quote where it said not ruthlessly. So you said, well, it says not ruthlessly. I'm going to go by what the Bible says. And I didn't look up that quote, and I totally messed it up twice, and I don't want to mess it up a third time. It says the Israelites not ruthlessly. We were talking about the Gentiles the whole time. So will you concede that for the Gentiles it's for life, and it has nothing to do with not ruthless. It's just slavery, just like we had in America.
I don't remember having read that, so unless I'll put it this way: if David can't contextualize it because he's better at citing specific verses than I am, then I'll concede that. But let's give him a chance to offer some context. I don't ever remember reading that.
Context? What do you mean? What context would justify that?
In other words, it's making sure that we're interpreting it correctly. There's different ways to read the Bible. We can't just look at it literally. I mean, there's
slavery.
Context.
It's endorsing slavery, right?
Was that?
It's endorsing slavery.
I would say here, you're not going to trap me in my words. What I'm saying.
There's no trap. It says slavery.
What I said was, if we can be proven that first off that it wasn't only the Jews, and that it was for a time longer than 7 years, it wasn't considered indentured servitude, and David's an intellectually honest person. If he turns to me and says that what you're saying is true, then I'll believe it if he offers some scripture on it. But
I offered it last time. Do you want me to go look up that scripture again and we can read it again?
If you'd like to, but I'd also like input from David. Because
I've actually taken the liberty and gone ahead and looked that up. I'm going to quote from the New International Version. It's going to be Leviticus chapter 25, verses 44 through 46. That's Leviticus 25, 44 to 46 again. It says, "Your male and female slaves are to come from the nations around you. From them you may buy slaves. You may also buy some of the temporary residents living among you and members of their clans born in your country, and they will become your property. You can bequeath them to your children as inherited property and make them slaves for life, but you must not rule over your fellow Israelites ruthlessly."
I don't believe that was in the worded exactly the version the way I read it.
Then you read a different version, but this is, these are translations of the Bible. These are words that existed.
The reason why I do that is because in the beginning, Fsx had said I had skipped over that, and I don't want it to seem like I had intentionally done that. It wasn't worded that way in the New American Standard, which is what I read. So I didn't.
Well, it was in the New American Standard. I think it said of your fellow Israelites, not ruthlessly. You excluded Israelites.
I can go get the New American Standard right now and read the very same verse again. I would have never been dishonest like that.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Anyways, like I was. Okay. Okay, let me. Okay, just.
I can give you the New American Standard. The internet's great. The verses, and I'll just skip to verse 46 from Leviticus 25 in the New American Standard Bible. It says, "You may even bequeath them to your sons after you to receive as a possession. You can use them as permanent slaves. But in respect to your countrymen, the sons of Israel, you may not rule with severity over one another."
So it says severity. Same thing.
Are you saying that's really that different, David?
No, I'm not. Like, I'm actually saying the same thing. I
do too. Thank you.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is, okay, when the Bible is not comprehensive. It doesn't when God had Moses write the Old Testament, like the first 5 books, the Torah, pretty much. It was. The Bible points out the big picture of the drama of redemption. So there's a lot of things that God just ignores because it had everything in the Old Testament was a type and shadow of things to come in the New Testament. So when you read passages like that, you have to read that in light of the New Testament because it points to the New Testament.
Well, we're saying all of this after the fact.
Yeah, what in the New Testament is going to say that is going to justify that? I mean, it literally says that it's okay to keep people as permanent slaves, to keep their children as slaves, that you may rule over these people ruthlessly.
It says in the New Testament that we're all slaves, and that Jesus...
Okay, do you have a verse for that?
What?
Do you have a verse for that? That it says that we are all slaves?
Yeah, it says in a bunch of places in the New Testament.
Give me one.
And I don't want us to get too off track. I want to just prove one point. They claim that the Bible does not endorse slavery. I think we've clearly demonstrated it does.
Yeah, I really don't think there's any way around that.
Like I said, like I said, in the big picture of the drama of redemption, God used the normal, everyday cultural activities back then that were going on already to point to his bigger picture, which was Jesus Christ. He used their normal customs. Slavery was already a normal custom back then, and that was one of the things he used. I'm not saying, like, that doesn't mean he endorsed it. Like,
Yes, it does.
No. David, we're not arguing if slavery is right or wrong. We're not even getting that far.
Explicitly condemn it doesn't mean he endorsed it either.
No, it does. That's what we just showed. He endorsed it.
He endorses it, and in fact, it's codified. They give you the rules for what can and can be done.
He used their cultural custom to point to Christ. Everything in the Old Testament, Jesus said that himself in the New Testament. He said all the law and the prophets pointed to him.
Well, now you're making a new argument. We just showed that the Bible endorses slavery, and now that we've shown that, you're making excuses.
No, I'm not making excuses. That's what I've been saying. Like you never talked about this with me. You talked about that with Joe.
I understand that, David, and I'm making a point to Joe, honestly.
No.
So, Joe, do you want to concede the fact that the Bible endorses slavery?
You don't want to concede the fact that the Bible. Well,
we brought up the version while you're gone. It's the same thing. You can ask David if you think we're lying.
No, it's the same. It says severity.
Well, I trust him.
No. David said it meant the same thing.
Yeah, severity and ruthlessly means the same thing.
Okay, well then I trust him.
All right, so Bible endorses slavery.
No one said that.
That's what he's.
I already explained that to you.
No, I'm asking Joe. He said
I'm asking Joe.
His excuse was that it said not ruthlessly. We got over that. He said it wasn't slavery. It was indentured servitude. We got over that. Every time we show you're wrong, you add another layer to the cake.
I didn't do that.
All right. Well, what do I have to do to show that this Bible endorses slavery to you guys? Every time you claim that I'm wrong and your Bible proves it, and we go look it up and you're wrong, you keep.
I never like. Okay, first off, are you saying that to Joe or are you saying that to me?
I'm saying it to Joe.
And to both of you, actually. I would say that you're both kind of doing the same dance.
Actually, no. Like, I'm not. I've been saying the same thing. I never once denied that slavery was not in the Bible.
Well, you actually did when I talked to you with Alex and his wife.
Well, yeah, I said the slavery that's in the Bible is different than the slavery you guys are thinking about.
No, and we just showed you were wrong. How's it different?
No, you didn't. It's not race-based. The slavery of the...
Oh, now
it's... actually, as a matter of fact, that is what they would describe as racist. That would be race-based, yes.
No,
your countrymen are in one group, and everybody else, your countrymen...
slaves simply because of their race.
Yes, they did. Yes, they actually did.
No,
they literally say that.
They made them slaves because they conquered them.
Wait, hold on, David.
No,
hold on,
it
David.
doesn't say anything about conquest either. I mean, you're just completely going off on this.
No,
wait, David.
Nonsense.
David.
What?
Hold on. If it wasn't race-based, would it be any better?
What?
If it was not based on race, would it be any better? How does that add anything to your argument?
Again,
we're just saying you're not defining it the same way.
Back then, God used the normal customs that they practiced to point to, like, everything in the Old Testament points to the New Testament. That's
Why?
how we have to do it.
Hold on a second. I mean, let's just take that apart for a moment. God's basically laying out a new law for a new covenant with his people. Why couldn't he just tell them, that whole slavery thing, you're different. You're a light to the world. I think that's wrong. That's wrong. That's against my morality, my being. So you're going to stop doing that. Even though other people do that, you're not going to, because you're better than that.
Let me ask you guys a question. Even if the Bible...
Could you answer my question first? I mean, why couldn't God just do that?
You got us.
Yeah.
You're not letting us ask anything.
Well, that's because, your question is interrupting mine. I asked you, why is that necessarily so? Why couldn't God just say, here's the new covenant, here's the new rules, there's no slavery, and that's that?
Because God, that's not what he did. What? Oh, hold on 1 second. My textbook.
Hold on for a second, guys.
Okay. Am I louder?
Somebody was returning a textbook of his. In the meantime, I want to ask you guys a question, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
You guys understand what he's saying by saying that it was done because they were conquered, right? You realize that was a normal thing. Like, if you were to take the Roman Empire...
Hey, real quick, just so you guys don't think I ran away? Like
No. I wouldn't. That's beneath us all to accuse you of that.
Well,
you're in college. People stop by all the time.
Why you fucking run away, David?
Right?
Coward.
Hey,
God damn it!
You're the one who took forever to get online.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
No,
you can't even add 2 and 9.
To go back to your original question about where's the scripture.
You can't even tell 9 apart from 7. But I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go back to your original question about where's the scripture that says everything in the Old Testament pointed ultimately to Jesus was a type and shadow. If you go to Luke 24, verse 13 through 35, I'll just read that right there just to get it in context. Like, this is after the resurrection. It says, that very day, 2 of them were going to a village named Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem, and they were talking with each other about all these things that had happened. While they were talking and discussing together, Jesus himself drew near and went with him. But their eyes were kept from recognizing him. And he said to them, what is this conversation that you are holding with each other as you walk? And they stood still, looking sad. Then one of them, named Cleopas, answered him, are you the only visitor to Jerusalem who does not know the things that have happened there in these days? And he said to them, what things? And they said to him, concerning Jesus of Nazareth, a man who was a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all the people, and how our chief priests and rulers delivered him up to be condemned to death and crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one to redeem Israel. Yes, and besides all this, it is now the 3rd day since these things happened. Moreover, some women of our company amazed us. They were at the tomb early in the morning, and when they did not find his body, they came back saying that they had even seen a vision of angels who said that he was alive. Some of those who were with us went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said, but him they did not see. And he said to them, O foolish ones and slow of heart, to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Was it not necessary that the Christ should suffer these things and enter into his glory? And beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself. So they drew near to the village to which they were going. He acted as if he were going further, but they urged him strongly, saying, stay with us, for it is toward evening, and the day is now far spent. So he went in to stay with them. When he was at the table with them, he took the bread and blessed and broke it and gave it to them. And their eyes were opened, and they recognized him, and he vanished from their sight. They said to each other, did our hearts not burn within us while he talked to us on the road, while he opened to us the scriptures? And they rose that same hour, returned to Jerusalem, and they found the 11 and those who were with them gathered together, saying, the Lord has risen indeed, and has appeared to Simon. Then they told us what had happened on the road, and how he was known to them in the breaking of the bread.
Okay, I'm not exactly sure what where you're going with that.
Okay, in verse 9, where he said, O foolish ones and slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken, was it not necessary that the Christ should suffer these things and enter into his glory? And beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself.
Okay, but that doesn't say that what you were saying. You were claiming that because Jesus came around, all of these old rules were wiped off the slate, and you said that this verse was going to demonstrate that, and it has not.
All pointed to Jesus. That's what I said.
But that's okay. That's non sequitur then, because we're asking how you can take this passage that condones slavery, a very specific type of ruthless slavery, based upon nationality, so effectively race. It is in all ways parallel to this practice that we find reprehensible.
They didn't put them in slave. They didn't make them slaves specifically because of their race. They were slaves because they conquered them.
I don't care why they're making them slaves. We're dancing and jumping and dodging. Bible endorses slavery, right?
What I'm telling you is, according to the big picture of the drama of redemption, God used the normal customs that they were already practicing then to point to to point to things to come in the New Testament.
Did it say
Let me
that?
ask you guys a question real quick.
No. So the Bible endorses slavery.
Let me
That's
ask
all
you
I
guys,
care about.
even if the Bible did endorse slavery,
It does.
according to your worldviews, why is
No.
that wrong?
According to the Bible, it uses the word slavery.
Why is that wrong? According to you guys, why would that be wrong? You
So
guys,
are you
guys say
conceding?
morality is subjective, so
That's
why would
fine.
that be wrong?
I'll answer that question. Are you conceding the Bible endorses slavery?
No, I'm not saying
Okay.
the Bible endorses
The
slavery.
Bible just specifically
But
endorses it.
I'm
Now you're...
asking you, even if the Bible did endorse slavery,
No, it just
why would
did.
that be wrong?
It just did, David.
Even
Yeah,
if
just
the
read it.
Bible did support slavery,
It
why would that
does.
be wrong?
It does
It
support
does
slavery.
endorse slavery.
Why don't, and then we can move on to why that's wrong.
Okay, answer the question.
No, it endorses slavery,
Answer
and
the
then I'll
question.
explain.
Why-
I don't
is it
feel
wrong?
compelled to answer questions if
I'll-
you're going to be disingenuous about what it actually says
I'll
in the
answer the
Bible.
question, David. I'll answer the question, David.
I'm asking you, even if the Bible did,
No, it does. It does.
if it did endorse slavery, why
It
would that
does.
be wrong?
What's with this Weasley? Well, maybe if it did, like, did it or didn't it? It says it right
asking.
there on the page. Well, we've been
Okay,
asking
why
you
would it
at
be
the beginning
wrong?
of this
I- oh.
conversation.
We can move on once you admit what we just showed you.
I mean, it's
Okay,
really it's
again,
written right in
You
there
guys, okay,
in
the thing
different
is, though,
versions.
Do you want
guys
to
are
read
not
it again?
understanding-
Do you want to
well,
read
you
it
guys are
again?
not understanding the bigger picture.
No,
you guys are looking,
I
you
don't
guys are
care.
looking at-
We can go to the bigger picture.
Yeah,
I
Go
don't
to
know.
the bigger
you cannot
picture. Let's look
isolate
at the
We have
small
to
picture.
first-
passage.
We have to
and-
first kind of agree on what we're actually seeing.
Okay, but you cannot isolate a single passage from the rest of the Bible. You have to read it in the light of the bigger picture of the drama of redemption.
We're not
Okay, that's
arguing
fair
why
enough,
slavery
but,
is
you know,
wrong.
let's say
We're
that
arguing
you were
if it,
an Israelite living 1,000 years before Christ. Would it have been okay to keep a slave and to keep them
That was
ruthlessly
something they
and to
already.
keep their children
That
and to
was
keep
something
their
they
children's
already
children?
practiced back then. That was a normal custom, like everybody in the
It's
world.
a yes or no
practiced.
question. Would it have been
And-
okay for an Israelite to keep a slave in that fashion? Yes or no?
According to in that custom, for them
Yes,
it was.
excellent. Then
All right,
you're
let's move on.
admitting that the Bible endorses slavery.
In the sense of in the bigger picture of the drama of redemption.
It's just
Like-
a yes or no question,
No.
David. You don't have to cover
No.
your ass on this one.
No.
You can just give a straight answer. Promise.
Hey, Joe wants to know how do you send an invite for him to come in? Because he wants to see if he could get his cam to work.
I don't want to mess with Joe's camera on here.
Yeah, and I think that might be a bad idea to put an extra feed of bandwidth
Yeah.
from your dorm. If you
No.
guys can kind of sit, can swing using just one stream of bandwidth.
No offense, Joe, but I've seen you try to use that netbook a few times, and it doesn't seem to work so well on Hangouts.
Yeah, it's been my cam. I got the new cam, but I'm trying to get it to work.
I know, but I mean, we could have done that before we got in here, but I don't want to really do it in the middle of the Hangout.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Sorry. We could, if we set it up beforehand, we can do that, but I just don't want to have all the people watching this watch us fuck with that thing for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's alright.
No, anyways, though,
Yeah, there's always
like
next
I was saying, in the sense of God using the normal customs that they were already practicing at the time, in light of the bigger picture of His plan of the drama of redemption, yes, it was endorsed.
There's two things that I'd like to say in response.
Oh,
to
wait, he just said it was endorsed.
that. Yeah, we covered that.
All right, we can move on.
I just
You
explained
Well,
explained
no,
the
if I may, two things that I'd like to say in response
Can
to
you
what
take that in
David-
context
David-
what I said, though?
Yes, certainly.
Yeah, it's
but I'd like to respond to what you just said.
You don't think slavery is necessarily wrong. I got you.
I never said that. Nice straw man argument, though.
Well, slavery can be right in some situations.
I never
It's
said
not straw,
that.
man.
I never said slavery could be right in some situations.
No, he's coming to the realization of his worldview where morality is subjective. That's what he's doing.
Oh yeah, that's right. No, okay. Now, since I said that, answer my question. Like even if it did
Fair enough.
endorse slavery,
It did. You just admitted it.
okay, according to your guys' worldview, why is that wrong?
All right, so you admit it endorsed slavery. I'm
Yeah,
not going to do this.
my
to you
world-
guys.
guys' worldview.
Why I
why
believe
is that
that's
wrong?
that's wrong is because that's
Just let me
removing.
make a note. Just let me make a note. You're strawmanning us, and you know you are.
Okay.
All right. What's the straw man? I'm saying the Bible endorses slavery. We've established this, and after you establish it, you want to be like, even if. There's no even if.
Now, will you explain the context that David put it in?
There's no context. The context is there. People from wait. I'll put it in context. It's people from another nation that aren't part of your in-group.
How about
for life?
How about at that time that was considered a cultural norm?
All right.
Understood.
We're arguing if it endorses slavery.
No, I'm asking you.
We're not arguing if slavery is right or wrong.
According to your worldview, why is that wrong?
All right, so the Bible endorses slavery. Why is that wrong?
Can you please answer the question? According to your worldview, why is that wrong?
Why is slavery wrong?
I've got a very simple answer for that one. Because it removes agency from people in your society.
Wait, say that again?
It removes agency from people in your society.
Okay. And why is that wrong? Why is removing agency from people wrong?
Because it's simply evil to remove agency from someone. Like, would you want that done to you?
By
what
your
standard? By my standard. By Fareed's standard? By Joe's standard? By all of our standards.
GreyKnight, let me ask you a question. We've removed Charles Manson's agency to kill more people. What's wrong? I mean, we took away his agency, obviously, in some situations.
We have removed his capacity to remove the ultimate form of agency removal, murder. He has demonstrated that he cannot control himself.
But by your own logic, we shouldn't have done that because you're still removing his agency. You're removing his free will.
No, that's not inconsistent with my point. I don't understand how. Could you walk me through that?
Because you said that removing agency from people is evil.
Yes, for no reason.
We're removing
for no reason.
So by that same logic, removing agency from someone like Charles Manson to kill people is evil too.
But that is justified because he has done evil.
Oh, so now there's exceptions to that.
Yes.
As long as you guys,
you think that this is some sort of shocking idea?
By what standard?
Punish murderers. Are you saying that it's wrong to punish a murderer?
But what standard do you call that evil though? Removing agency.
By everyone's standard.
By everyone's standard, but I thought you said morality was subjective.
It is.
So if one person says it's evil, but another person says no, I don't think it's evil to do that, so you can't say that they're wrong.
You don't understand subjective clearly.
We understand it well enough to know that it's not.
Subjective means I individually choose what is right or wrong.
Yes, I know.
GreyKnight individually chooses what is right or wrong. You individually choose what is right or wrong. And where these things come together as a society, that's how we pass laws.
Okay.
So if there was a society where every individual in that society agreed that something was right, like say removing the agency from people, like slavery, then you guys can't say that they're wrong for that.
Are we part of that society, and do we agree?
We're just saying that if there is, or if there was.
No, but I wouldn't agree with that.
Okay, so would it be right for you not to agree with it, or right for their society to agree with it?
Subject to me.
Oh, okay, so
it's subject to you.
My morality. Okay. You guys, I don't know why you get so confused with it.
Consistency in your logic here.
No, it's consistent. My morality is based on myself.
By you, okay. So for instance,
my morality.
You're essentially making morality arbitrary. You're saying you're reducing it to a matter of mere opinion. Like I like chocolate ice cream, you like vanilla ice cream.
Yeah.
No.
Fine. Great. Yes. Go ahead. Yes. Go ahead.
So if someone likes. If some dude likes to rape women,
right?
Then, you cannot say that they're wrong, because that'd be like you telling me that I'm wrong for liking chocolate ice cream.
No, I can't say you're wrong.
No, it's subjective. It's a matter of mere opinion.
How are you going to stop me from saying I'm wrong? You're wrong.
And even so, if I'm doing, I'm not trying to be mean or nothing here, but if I'm doing something, I'm doing it because I want to. I really could give a shit what you think about it.
Exactly.
Right.
So you're making morality arbitrary.
It is.
Morality is, in a way, arbitrary.
Okay.
There are certain parts that philosophers would describe as objective. I think that
if morality is arbitrary, then give me your guys' address. I can go to your house and shoot both of you right now.
Let me give a chance to clarify something, because I see something it's probably getting way out of context.
You just said morality is arbitrary.
Okay, hey, pause for a second. I don't want the
that makes no sense, David.
What baffles me is that you think that you're holding your hands up like that's checkmate. What does that even mean? That's insane.
I need to clarify
You said
something.
morality is arbitrary.
How do you even jump from one to the other?
Because you said morality is
I need to
arbitrary.
clear something
So
up.
by that same logic, you guys shouldn't care about what someone else
I need
does.
to clear something
Why?
I don't think that logic. I'm sorry, that morality is entirely arbitrary. I've raised that objection a couple of times, but
Hey, time out for 1 second.
Let me
Roll
ask you,
over me,
okay?
but-
When you say morality is subjective, so
No.
is
I don't want
it
this to be taken out of
absolutely
context.
wrong to murder or to rape babies for fun?
And I have to make a point. Grey Knight and myself have a slight difference on this issue.
Okay,
So
go
when you're
ahead.
arguing, you have to recognize that.
I know.
Okay,
Is it absolutely wrong
Dude,
to rape
stop.
babies for fun?
Stop
From
for a
my
second.
point of view.
Let me clear something. Hold on. Let me clear something up here because I said something that could be taken out of context. When I was saying that, like, if I'm doing something, I want to do it, and I can give a fuck about what you say. I'm saying, okay, there's a difference. Like, if I'm doing something, what I'm saying is, if I'm doing something like that I know is wrong, and I've still made the choice to do it, like if I was Manson and you told me killing many people was wrong, I couldn't give a shit. But like, so I'm not making an argument for morality being subjective when I said that. I'm saying if I've already chosen to go against what I know is right, because what you tell me and what you care about isn't going to matter to me because I already know that it's wrong. I chose.
All right. I need to simplify this. How does something outside of my own morality dictate morality?
Because you're going to want me to, like, okay.
Make your point. Stop attacking my position that I base my morals on what I believe. Make your point. How does something outside of me set morality?
I made my point in our last debate when I said...
No, make your point. How does something outside of me determine morality?
I made my point in the last debate with you when I told you...
I've never asked you this question. How does something outside of me determine morality?
Because
Make your point.
You're made in the image of God. That's what.
Okay. So how does that determine morality?
You said it last
God
no,
is morality.
Stop.
All right. So what is this morality? Define it to me.
His nature.
Give me the rules of morality that I'm supposed to be following.
Okay.
Write out all morality.
In our last debate, me and you said, and I said if you sorry, and I'll stop. We said in our last debate that if I put you in a hypothetical situation, I said where if you were in a country where
why do we need all these hypotheticals? I want you to clearly define what you mean. These hypotheticals are avoiding the point.
Real quick, you guys need to go to the Korean market and get these.
They look delicious.
They are.
Define what you mean. I'm sick of these hypotheticals where you avoid the question.
Okay,
explain to me in a clear, cogent way how some morality that's absolute outside of myself makes any sense.
If you caught somebody doing something
hypothetical.
No. Okay, listen to me. Listen to me here.
Make a point. Make a point.
My point is
explain what you mean.
My point is that if you're making morality subjective, if you're saying that you don't like something, who gives a fuck? You don't have.
What's your point?
You don't have the ability to sit there and tell, like, if
I don't.
What I'm saying is you don't have the.
You're saying you don't have the authority.
Yeah, you don't have the authority to make a judgment of what that person's doing wrong. You can say I don't agree with it, but I don't give a shit what you agree with.
It's kind of
right. That's right. You can get raped. That's right.
You're reducing morality to I like chocolate ice cream, you like vanilla ice cream.
What we're doing is describing
that's what
the
you're doing.
world as it is.
I like chocolate ice cream. So when you say you don't like that,
no, that's a straw man version of our
you
position. That's an absurd reduction of our position.
Down to a matter of mere opinion.
It is.
To a degree, a lot of it is.
If I like rape and you don't like rape, and you say you don't like the fact that I like rape, you're essentially it's the same thing as
if there's such thing as deviance. There are the exceptions to the general rule. There are criminals. Are you denying that criminals exist?
If there's a sufficient amount of rapists in a society, guess what? Rape is going to be prevalent.
Like if
there are enough rapists out there,
if you go to the prison system and you talk to criminals there, most of them will tell you that they know what they did was wrong.
I'm sorry, what? Could you repeat that?
There's exceptions. I said most criminals know what they did was wrong.
What's your point?
Maybe. Some don't.
There's exceptions.
Quite a few don't. Statistically, most probably do.
They're the exception, not the norm.
So what's your point?
Where is this going?
He's the one. GreyKnight's the one that brought up the criminals.
No, where is your morality argument go?
Criminals know that what they did was wrong.
No, they don't always. They do not.
Okay, you're
simply
pointing out the
incorrect.
exception, not the norm.
What is your point? What is your point?
I don't need to have the norm be that case. I mean, why would you? You're offering me an ad populum.
You don't need the norm to be the case.
Yes, you're actually offering me what is literally an ad populum argument. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Okay, then you recognize that what you offered, because what I'm saying isn't the norm. Therefore, it's invalid.
I know, right? It's kind of funny that Joe just accused you of that, and now you're turning around trying to accuse us of that.
But you actually did it. I'm not trying to. I'm pointing it out. That actually happened.
And Joe actually pointed out to you how you use that problem.
When?
It was in his last debate.
No, I was just. Oh, geez, I don't even remember. What I ate for dinner last night, let alone the debate we had 2 weeks ago. But if I believe what you're trying to imply is that because I said that morality, intersubjective morality, and the codification of laws is based upon the consensus, that's an ad populum argument. That's not the case. Excuse me. Excuse me, David. Stop talking over me.
I'm saying that morality came from God's nature.
Yeah, woo.
All right, prove that.
If you're going to waste my time by inviting me in here and talking over me, I've got better things to do. So get a little bit of discipline.
I was just answering.
You go and walk off and get a book from your friend, and you come in all apologetic about that, but you're fine just blithely talking over me. Enough.
All right.
Yeah.
What is your guys' point? What is the point with this morality argument? Where is this getting us?
Well, hey, GreyKnight went out. Is he still here?
I'm still here.
Okay.
No.
He's just getting frustrated when he's trying to finish the sentence and he can't finish the sentence.
You've been doing it for the last 10 minutes, and I've got a long fuse, but enough is
in
enough.
our defense, you guys you guys were cutting us off too. It was going back and forth.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's not an ad populum argument to say that laws are created by consensus. That's a description of how democracy works.
I don't even know what you guys
know the difference between an ad populum fallacy and a description of how the world works. And when I point out that the fact that morality is subjective, and this is illustrated by the fact that we have criminals who do not recognize that their crimes are wrong, it's an ad populum argument to say, well, most criminals recognize that what they did is wrong. That's ridiculous.
Okay, my point is
that doesn't disprove at all what I said.
No,
but
my
point is the ones who do not. Sorry.
No, my point in saying that, wasn't to make an ad pop. My point in saying that was pointing out that they know it's wrong because they're made in the image of God, just like all of us. God's nature is morality.
But they literally don't know.
Can you let me finish now?
I'm sorry.
Don't cut me off. I was saying, since God's nature is morality, it logically follows that since we're made in His image, that we are moral creatures too.
It doesn't logically follow because we haven't established God exists.
Well, let me ask you a question.
We established God exists.
No, we haven't.
Because if God does not exist, we wouldn't know anything at all.
We haven't established that either.
Okay, what's your standard for knowledge?
Wait. Established God exists. We can't just assume God exists for the point of argument.
You know God exists just like I do.
I don't. So does that disprove God exists?
No, it doesn't. You deny it, but
no, I don't know God exists.
Because you deny what
it's
you know.
It's kind of absurd to tell me that I know something when I know that I don't know it.
I'll let you do a lot of things in a debate, David, but I will not, under any circumstances, let you tell me what I think.
Yeah, that's kind of
So we can play back and
ridiculous.
forth all day. I'm never going to let you tell me what I think. I don't care who you are.
I'm telling you.
I don't know God exists.
Well, could I ask a question just to step back to the subjective morality? You're saying that morality is not subjective?
I'm saying morality is
objective. Could I ask you a question? Is it wrong to have slaves? Is it wrong to make slaves of other people?
I would say, according to my worldview, I would say yeah.
Okay.
All right. Your God's evil.
Earlier in this conversation,
any other questions?
By what standard?
No,
do you
you're
say
saying
that?
that it is wrong to make slaves of people. Earlier in this conversation, you told me what about everybody's relationship to God, that we are all slaves of God?
But God didn't make us slaves. No, I didn't say we were slaves.
God made everything.
God
God made us slaves.
Those words that we were made slaves to God, or that we're slaves to God, never came out of my mouth.
What?
I never once said that we were made slaves to God.
But we are all slaves to God. Is that not true? That is what you said to me earlier.
No, that is not true. We're not all slaves to God.
There's a difference. What you're
I
saying.
never said we were all slaves to God.
I don't know, comment monsters, if you're out there and you've been watching this, maybe you can weigh in on this in the comment section. I'm pretty sure that's what I heard.
I think you just froze. I heard that in the past too.
Well, I mean, regardless, if he's going to, equivocate now and say, "Well, I never said that we were made slaves by God," that's also ludicrous. That's ludicrous because God made us all.
Thanks for strawmanning me.
GreyKnight, here's the
How
issue.
is that a straw man?
Because you're putting words into my mouth. You're making up an argument.
No, those are the words that came out of your mouth.
No, you're making up an argument that I never even made.
Then
I never
clarify your
once
position.
said that we are slaves to God. Now you're being intellectually dishonest.
GreyKnight, let me shed some light on this for you here. Like from a Christian perspective, I'm not sure. Were you ever? I think you said you were a Christian before, right?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Well,
It's good internet right there. You still there, GreyKnight?
I am still here.
We made
All
ourselves slaves.
Sorry, you guys froze up for a sec, so you might want to restate what you just said.
I said we never chose. We never said, or he never said that we were born all slaves to God. What he says was we were born slaves, and the reason why he said that was because we're all born
slaves.
They then changed the word and said that we were made slaves, and that's not what David said. We weren't born made slaves. We made ourselves slaves. He also turned the reprobate over to ourselves. So we chose hell. We choose it.
Yeah. God made creation good.
Oh, and he made us, and he knew what the outcome of our lives would be.
We chose
according to your worldview.
Yeah.
We chose.
So he made us to be slaves.
We chose the outcome, is what we're telling you.
I mean, it's
Adam
moral. Well, it's moral for us to make slaves, but it's moral for God to make slaves. But morality isn't subjective. I mean, your own worldview discredits itself.
No. God, okay, again, you're like GreyKnight. You're like.
Shall we get into sovereign will and
straw man
divine
argument.
will or whatever it is? I mean, again, but morality isn't subjective.
No,
God just has two wills.
Adam and Eve.
How morality is not necessarily subjective.
Free will. Adam and Eve freely chose to rebel against God.
What does that even mean? Yeah, I don't get where you're going with this.
I don't want to argue this Adam and Eve thing because you guys you don't understand the difference between. You don't understand what omniscience is. You don't know what all powerful.
Omniscience is all knowing.
So how does your argument with Adam and Eve ever make any sense? Like they chose something.
He's trying to say that God. He said that God made Adam and Eve sin, and I'm saying no. Adam and Eve freely sinned on their own. God didn't make them sin.
Also,
what part of Adam and Eve's life was not determined by God?
Okay, again, now we're going into God. I know what you're trying to. You're going to try and take this again into God's moral will and God's sovereignty.
All right, so you're not going to answer the question, and that's my point.
I will answer your question, but you guys
answer. What part of Adam and Eve's life was not determined by God?
No question. When about God's sovereignty, when there's actually entire volumes written about this.
I'm not even talking about that. What point of
more of a complex? It's more complex than just yes or no.
I don't know. I was gonna ask you guys I might be moving on just because I've discussed these things so many times with you and I've gotten bored.
Not to interrupt you, Fareed, but I just wanted to say from the comment section, Overanator said, we heard we are all slaves. I don't think I heard what we are slaves to whom, to who, or whatever. That would be correct there. But yeah, I guess I overstated the case that you didn't say that we are all slaves to God, but regardless, if we're all slaves and God made us, connect the dots there, guys.
We can either be a slave to God or a slave to sin.
Yeah, so and God made us. Well, whatever we're slaves to.
Are you assuming that that this is a ventriloquist show and that he's got his hand up our asses and talking for us?
No, I'm just saying that that's the necessary implication. If God made us,
that is not the necessary implication. Again.
Oh, okay.
Wait, let him finish his sentence. Let him finish his sentence.
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
You're not understanding God's moral will versus His sovereign will.
They conflict, so they are logically inconsistent. So they make no sense. With an all-powerful God, moral and sovereign will make no sense. They conflict.
Okay. Here, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Alex Bonton. Have you ever had to choose to do something that you didn't want to do but you knew had to be done?
What?
Oh, like the lesser of two evils?
You don't understand all-powerful gods, and I do.
Okay.
So your question makes no sense.
We've answered that already, so...
I was going to ask you guys about the, we discussed abortion one other time, and I was trying to, we kind of moved off it really fast with Alice Bott, and I thought I'd come into that just because we tend to talk about the exact same thing every time.
Okay.
What is your objection?
What?
It's a human life.
That's a human life.
Okay. And why should that be a legally illegal thing?
Why should murder be an illegal thing?
It's not murder.
That is murder.
It's
Killing a human life is murder. That's the definition of murder.
Right.
Wait, so please don't tell me you don't see an unborn
If you
child.
do not see an unborn child as a human being, then you're ignorant of medical science.
Is the mother a human being?
Yes.
The mother is the human being.
So she should be forced by law to carry any pregnancy that occurs to her?
At this point, I'd say the baby's rights supersede the mother, but it's simply because the baby isn't here to speak for itself.
Yeah, and you're also assuming that pregnancy just happens on her.
It can.
Yeah, it can, but you're right. It can.
Are you talking about rape?
Well, I remember when we were talking, and I'm going to make this point really
No,
fast.
I'm just asking. When you said that, were you referring to rape?
It could be rape, or it could be
Okay, number
birth
one,
control,
rape,
not failures of
rape by
Condom
pregnancy,
failure.
or pregnancy by rape is extremely rare.
Pregnancy by condom failure
number
is kind of common.
Number two, why would you punish the baby for something the rapist did?
Well, you do know pregnancy can kill a woman, right?
You know abortion can actually kill a woman too.
True.
That's
so who should make the decision?
Did you know that abortion?
I think that the likelihood of dying
You
while
know that
having a doctor
abortion
perform an abortion
psychologically
on you is
and
much less
physically-
likely than complications due to pregnancy. Pregnancy's rough.
Okay. Anyways, before I got cut off, did you know that abortion actually psychologically and physically damages the woman for her entire life? It hurts her so badly. They actually, psychologists calls it post-abortion syndrome. It's just
That doesn't necessarily last for the rest of your life.
So who should make the decision?
Well, yeah, she could go through grief counseling and stuff, but that right there.
Or she might just get over it.
No, she would have to go through counseling and.
But David, who makes that decision? Who makes that decision?
Makes what decision?
If someone gets pregnant, who decides what happens, if they have to go through with it or not?
I think they should have to.
Well, ultimately, it should be everyone involved.
Okay. Oh, so there is a decision.
Yeah, there is a decision.
Yeah. All right. So why are you against abortion?
Because we're against the idea of it. So we're not saying.
Yeah,
I'm talking about legally allowing abortion. I'm talking about.
We're against murder. That's what we're against. Murder.
So by law, the government should pass laws to force a woman to go through with any pregnancy she finds herself in.
The government should have never made a law governing it.
The government should pass laws that ban that make murder illegal, all forms of murder.
Is jacking off in the shower murder? That's potential life.
No, that's okay. There's a difference between potential life and actual human life.
All right, where do we define the line?
When sperm and egg meet.
Yeah, when the sperm, like at conception.
All right, so birth control
Why?
prevents that. Birth control prevents that. So should we stop that too?
Okay, here. Yeah,
Why
No
do you
birth
draw
control.
the line there?
Holy shit.
I'm being consistent.
What is the qualification? Well, I mean, why exactly?
Birth
draw the
control.
line
Birth
there?
control breeds irresponsible behavior because you have all these teenage
Really?
girls that are on birth control that think, oh, I can have all the sex I want now, and then they just because and birth control is not 100%.
That's like 99.8%.
Actually, Planned Parenthood has been exposed for
Hey,
purposely.
do you know what non-birth control is?
They've been
0%.
hold on, shut the fuck up.
Dude,
Hold on, man. Hold on. Let's not get too angry. That's a little too much, David.
He just cut me off, and yeah.
I understand, but
Yeah,
I've
I
never gone
apologize.
that far. That's a little too much.
Yeah.
All right.
I apologize. No, but like I was saying, Planned Parenthood has been exposed for giving teenage girls low-dose birth control pills, knowing that they're not going to take it regularly, and by them not taking it regularly, it actually increases the chances of them getting pregnant. And when they get pregnant, guess who they turn to? Planned Parenthood. And Planned Parenthood is the staff that works there are coached to pretty much sell abortions to these teenage girls.
Do you know exactly why these girls are given low-dose birth control pills?
For the exact reason we just
For that, for the exact reason I just told you.
No,
There's
because they're
no
young.
medical reason why they would want to give them low-dose birth control pills.
I just explained that to you, the
It's because
reason.
they're younger.
I asked you a specific question. There's no medical reason why?
I just explained to you the reason.
So your answer is no.
I just explained to you the reason. Like, how many times do I have to
Which
repeat
had
it?
nothing to do with that, so then you're saying no.
What other reason do you say there is?
Probably because their periods are irregular because they're children, effectively.
So
Okay.
I mean, that can happen to. That happens to women all over the world every day.
I mean, you don't give a child an adult dose of many types of medications, and hormone therapy is pretty complicated shit. I'm nowhere near a doctor or a biologist, but I recognize that.
Yeah, like I said, there's Planned Parenthood directors, former Planned Parenthood directors, who they tell you the reason why that Planned Parenthood does this. It's not because of any medical reason. It's because it increases the chances of the girls getting pregnant. Because they do not take it. They expect the girls to not take the birth control pill regularly. And when they don't take it regularly, that it increases the chances. And when they get pregnant, they come into Planned Parenthood. They make most of their money from abortions.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, it is true.
It's not true.
Hey, have you ever heard of a?
It's not. Have you ever used a Planned Parent service yourself?
Let me ask you
I know
a question.
people who have.
No. I'm asking David real quick.
I know people who
I have. Guess what they do? They do STD checks.
Yeah, and they charge you like over $100 for the STD check.
Yeah, and it's a lot cheaper than if you go to like
No, pregnancy centers offer STD tests for free.
Yeah, and we're not denying the fact that.
Yeah, like Planned Parenthood. They're government subsidized. You still there, David?
I'm not even sure why we're off in the briars about Planned
Oh,
Parenthood.
I have a reason, because he made a certain argument in the past which is going to trip him up. I'll get off it real fast. David. Yeah.
Well, I guess we could talk about our views on abortion if you'd like while we're waiting.
Right, and see, this is one of those issues that it's kind of touchy for me, because even after I became an atheist, I was actually anti-abortion for quite a long time. But I ultimately... Oh, hey, David.
Shit.
You there? All right, maybe he's not there.
Hey, can you repeat that?
Oh,
What the
okay.
hell?
Sorry, we were just talking amongst ourselves while you were coming back on here. Still there, David? David? Oh, there he is.
Oh, shit.
You're so good at injecting yourself. I don't know why. All right, David, I guess I'm kind of off in the weeds for a second, so are you still there?
Yeah, can you repeat what you said? Because you cut out.
Right. I was going to say that I know this issue's off in the weeds, and it was kind of going somewhere. I'm going to get to the point. What is the legal justification you feel there is to force a woman to go through a pregnancy?
Because we have
murder. Because there's legal justification to make murder illegal.
Yeah.
How's that murder?
It's a human life.
Right, but is a woman... My main argument for abortion comes from a body rights argument. Why is a woman required by law to use her body to keep another person alive?
What? Okay. Because again...
My worldview could explain it.
Okay. The woman, in that case, the baby's right to life supersedes the woman.
All right, if the baby is born, it lives 12 years.
According to our Constitution, our first fundamental right is the right to life.
And where is that in the Constitution?
We cannot have any other rights without the right to life first.
Where's that in the Constitution, David?
What are you talking about? Where's that? Like,
go ahead.
These truths to be self-evident that all men were created equal, and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
And is that in the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence?
Okay, I messed up with the, I got them.
All right, so where do our legal laws come from? Yeah, that's where I was going.
Okay.
I knew you were going to pull that.
So the Declaration of Independence doesn't count.
It's not a legal document.
So it doesn't count. You just toss away the Declaration of Independence.
Literally doesn't count.
Correct. Yes.
It's really pretty language. You know,
it's determined. It has nothing to do with our laws. That's right.
Okay. If you're and I disagree with that.
Okay. Well, you don't understand how our government works.
Disagree with it, but that's an objectively demonstrable fact.
Let me ask you a question about this topic. This is gonna separate power and authority. Just because someone has the power to do something doesn't necessarily mean they have the authority to do it. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
You agree with that? Okay, so say I had a gun and I aimed it at you. I have the power to say you're not a human, so I'm going to shoot you. But do I have the authority to do that?
No.
All right, let's put that on the back burner. Okay. Okay.
What's your point?
No, hold on. I'll get there.
This is good. I like this dance.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, so let's say that you live in a nicer neighborhood than I do. Does that mean you have the authority to say that I'm not a human being?
No.
No? Okay. Let's say you're bigger than me. Does that mean you have the authority to say that I'm not a human being?
No.
No? Okay. Do any of you guys have any kids?
No.
No.
Well, maybe GreyKnight.
Do you know anybody that has any kids around you?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
Oh, I have nieces. I have neighbors.
All right.
Kids.
Your nieces. Okay, so your nieces are completely and utterly dependent upon their parents. I mean, they don't contribute nothing to society. They just take. They're you have to feed them. You have to clothe them. They contribute absolutely nothing to society. Does that mean that they're not human beings?
I wouldn't say they contribute nothing to society, but no, I don't think that they're not human beings.
Okay, so let's keep all that in mind. Put that on the back burner. We're going to go backwards into time a little bit. Are you guys familiar with, well, obviously you guys are familiar with slavery, like the early American society, like the slave trade and everything.
Yeah, like biblical slavery, yeah.
Are you guys familiar with the abolitionist movement?
Sure.
You are? All right, the abolitionists, like the Underground Railroad and all that, when they went in there and they put slaves on the Underground Railroad and brought them up to the north to free them, then when the government caught them and pretty much they condemned them as criminals because they said that they had stolen goods in the Underground Railroad, because in their minds, slaves or black people were just property, like this desk right here.
Correct.
Did the government at the time have the authority to declare that blacks were not human beings?
Yes.
A legal authority or moral authority?
Did they have the authority to declare that blacks were not human? They had the power. We already established
Yes,
that.
I guess that would be the legal.
Just because someone has the power doesn't mean they have the authority. So
Morally, I would say no. Morally, I don't believe that's so.
Authority requires a level of recognition.
So they didn't have. So GreyKnight, they did not have the authority to declare that blacks weren't humans.
They didn't have the moral authority. Legally, what you would call the power to do so, they had the legal authority to, and that's why that happened. But I don't think that was a morally justifiable thing. No.
Okay, again, like I think, and like
that's as complete an answer I can give you. They do not have.
More than it is.
No, I'm being specific.
Power and authority. That's all we're
David,
right.
you might not have heard what I said. Authority requires a level of recognition.
Okay.
That's what gives authority requires a degree of power too, and that is in that people recognize someone as an authority.
Okay.
There's a difference between being a police officer and some asshole running around with a gun.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I'm saying like so you're saying like a gun, I would say, is power.
Yeah.
So if someone has a gun.
Well, now that we're like 5 or 6 questions in,
if someone has a gun and they have the power to shoot you, but do they have the authority?
It depends on if they're recognized as an authority.
I just wanted to point out, now that we're 6 questions in or so, that we've never really had a very clear definition of what you mean by authority when you say it, because that's why I was a little bit thrown when you asked about the government, because authority in a governmental context has a very specific meaning.
So we can read the dictionary definition of authority?
You can pull out as many dictionaries as you'd like, David, but they're merely descriptive, and this is just the way that it is.
David, is it the 1973 version?
No, I don't have that.
Okay.
I mean, we can just Google it. I can go to a legal dictionary and look up what authority means. Would you like me to do that?
I got the American Heritage Dictionary.
Okay. I mean, dictionaries you recognize aren't prescriptive. They're descriptive of the language.
Yeah, and I mean...
That's as annoying as it is, that's why irregardless is still in Webster's dictionary. You might think it's the dumbest word in the world, but, people still use it, and it has a meaning, and therefore it's in the dictionary. Ta-da!
And ain't.
Yeah.
It sure is a word. David, what's your point with this authority thing?
Authority, okay. The right and power to enforce laws, exact obedience, command, determine, or judge. One that is invested with this right and power, especially a government or government official.
Yeah, thank you.
So it's a government. What's your point?
No, but what I'm saying was, did the government, they had the power to do it, but did they have the authority?
Going by the definition you just read, then yes.
Okay.
You just read that definition.
Separating power and authority. That's what we're doing. We're separating the two.
That's why I'm asking you for what you mean by authority, because going by what I understand the context of that word to mean relative to a government, the answer would be yes, but I have a feeling that's not the answer that you're looking for, and so I'm trying to,
authority as in
muddle through this.
As in, what is
morally right, morally justifiable.
What is legally and morally right? That's what I'm saying.
Legally and morally are two separate things.
That's why I said legally and morally.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So logically, is it morally and legally right? It would be morally wrong, I believe, and legally correct. So as a combined statement with that end in there,
no. To declare that it's right, though. Did they have the
morally and legally? No.
Did they have the authority to declare that blacks were not humans?
Morally
as the government.
And legally, no.
The government has
no.
the authority
Okay.
to decide who's wrong.
All right. Since I'll go. GreyKnight just said no. So moving on. Fast forwarding a little bit in time. You guys are familiar with Nazi Germany, right?
Sure.
All right.
I've heard of it once or twice.
In order for Hitler and the Nazis to do what they did to the Jews, to justify
Who's Hitler?
Adolf Hitler.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you're being a smart ass now.
Yeah, totally, dude.
No, but And I just kind of like, oh no, in order for them to justify what they were going to do to the Jews, they had to declare that the Jews were not human beings. They had the power to do that, but did they have the authority?
No, for the same reason that, you know, the wrongful action, what I would deem the wrongful actions of our government in endorsing slavery.
All right, thank you. Now, fast forwarding a little bit more into time, Roe v. Wade, 1973. In order for our government to make abortion legal, the only way they could do that was they had to declare that a certain group of people were not human beings. Now, did they have the authority to do that?
I believe yes, because they are not human beings. They are not born.
So they had the authority to declare.
Are you familiar with what the legal definition of a person is?
They had the authority to declare one group of persons to be human beings, and not the authority.
They are not persons.
What are they?
Okay, scientifically speaking, human life begins at conception.
That is not correct.
That is correct. So, every single scientific journal and medical journal out there agree unanimously that.
Unanimously.
Where did you get that from, David? Every single scientific journal unanimously agree.
That's not even a debate.
That is absolute bullshit.
Yeah, you pulled that out of your ass. Justify that. Where did you source that?
Okay, let me ask you. At what point do we become human beings?
No. That's an outrageous claim. I'm not going to let him dodge it.
At what point do we become people?
Yeah, no. At what point do we become?
We become people at.
No. You're changing the words. People implies characteristic of personality.
What GreyKnight's trying to do, he's trying to separate human life from personhood.
Exactly.
You cannot do that. Human life and
we can.
are one and the same.
You just used two. You did it yourself. You used two different words for these things.
But he's saying there's a difference.
They're the same thing. Human life.
No, they're not. That's why you use two different words for them. They have distinct meanings.
Wait, so two different words? Really?
Yes.
David,
human beings.
There are fertilized.
Wow. Yeah, totally. That's why you are in fact justifying what I just said. You are validating it because you're using two different words for it.
Human being and Homo sapien don't mean the same thing. They're two different words.
No, they don't mean the exact same thing.
No, they're.
What?
A square is a rhombus. A rhombus isn't necessarily a square.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What exactly is the difference between a Homo sapien and a human being?
I don't know. Which subspecies of Homo sapien are we speaking?
Exactly.
Derp.
Oh. There have been several species of Homo sapien throughout time.
Yeah, I wouldn't call Florensis a human, a human being or a person. Well, maybe a person. Maybe a person. They're the little hobbit guys.
No, all right, David, real quick. I got distracted for a second. At what point do you feel that someone becomes a human?
Yes.
At conception.
All right, so
speaking.
One sec. So there are sperm and eggs that fertilize, and what will grow is something without a head. Is that a human?
What are you talking about?
A birth
defect. There are birth defects. A sperm and egg can meet. Everything is going normal until we get far enough and there's no head. Is that a human?
I'm not going to say that somebody with a birth defect is not a human.
Yeah, neither am I.
Where it doesn't even have a brain.
But it doesn't fit your definition of personhood.
In that case, are you aware of how fast the human genes are depleting? In that case, none of us are in our original form, and we're all not human beings. Thank you.
Are you even aware of what you just said?
We're running out of genes.
Okay. Do you realize the amount of genetic mutations from each on average, from my mother and father to me, is on average about 400 genetic mutations. From me,
no, that's about 6.
What?
It's about 6.
Okay, so we'll go with your number then. Let's go more conservatively. Let's go with mine. We'll go with the 400. Be more conservative. By the time I have kids, that is an average of 800 genetic mutations between my mother and my child.
What's your point?
Okay, so what I'm saying is, would you not consider a mutation some type of birth defect or something?
No.
It could be.
Most of your DNA does nothing.
Yeah, a lot of it is non-coding as far as we can tell. It might have some sort of epigenetic purpose for being in the structure, but...
Just because someone has a birth defect, does that mean they're less of a human?
You guys were defining this
It
as
depends
something
on how
with
severe the birth
personality.
defect is. I mean, if it was what Fareed had mentioned as a birth defect, where you literally don't have a head or brain, I would say no. That's not a person. That's tissue that's developed.
Oh, so someone that so by that same logic, would you say someone on life support that's not conscious at all? They're not a human being. They're not a human being.
If they have no brain function,
Their brain
They might be dead.
yeah, they're dead. You're keeping their body alive.
Are they still a human being though?
A dead
No.
human being, yes.
Okay, but they're still
yes,
a
a dead human
being.
So
dead.
okay. when someone dies,
I don't think that's
What?
a person anymore. I mean, there's nobody's.
Do we not cremate dead bodies?
Why do we have funerals? Why do we have burial procedures and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
they're
Yeah, humans throw in the dumpster. Why?
Because we honor our dead.
But they're not.
But they're not humans.
But they were. They're important
They're
to
not
us.
anymore.
So what magic happened that made them not human beings anymore?
I don't care, honestly. If I'm dead, you
Did
can throw me in
someone
the dumpster.
snap
This is
Did
some
someone
word
snap
game.
their
Are
fingers?
we
Did
talking
they all
about
suddenly
their
turn into
rights?
non-humans?
Excuse me, David. I mean, what is the purpose of this conversation? Are you saying that a dead person has some sort of right to bear and keep arms? I mean, I guess technically they might,
saying
but
that
like,
at
are they
all.
going to ever exercise
Thank you
it?
for strawmanning me again, GreyKnight.
How did I strawman you, David? I mean,
I
just
never once
preaching
said that a dead
strawman doesn't
human being
actually
has the right to bear
constitute an
arms.
argument.
What the fuck?
Well, great. Now, you were clearly saying, David was saying that we should give guns to zombies.
Obviously.
Those words never came out of my mouth.
No, I don't think you're actually saying that we should arm zombies.
I strawmanned you. I'm sorry.
No, he said that I was talking about giving like dead
No,
people
I was
the right
asking.
to bear arms.
I was asking you, what is the purpose of defining them as a human being at that point? I mean, are we talking about their rights, their legal entitlements, their
We're
potentials?
talking about their
Because all of those are null at that point. There's nobody home. I think he just froze.
I know. Yeah, sorry. I was reading the comments for a little bit, so I kind of.
Anything good?
No,
Fill space. Fill space.
I know. We are all mutants. That's good. 400 is more conservative than 6.
Had a few comments from Char Beans about low dose birth control. That it's often given to very young children. Said that that was what was prescribed to her when she was 12. So, and she agrees that that's what it's used for, often to help with acne and cramping. So there are medical reasons why you get a low dose birth control pill. Have something other to do with Planned Parenthood trying to set you up with a baby so they can be your abortion vendor.
Overnator's got a bunch. He's always on my Hangout, so.
Shout-outs to Overnator.
Overnator! David's frozen. I bet David's going to come back in like 2 seconds in a new window. Alright, if anyone in the comments wants to suggest a new topic, since we have really no idea what we're talking about.
And we're your captive audience now.
Exactly. Oh, he just disappeared. Damn it. Son of a gun. So what is your image? What is that?
Oh, it's someone on DeviantArt did a super deformed drawing of a Grey Knight from Games Workshop's Warhammer 40,000 setting. So it's just a cute little knight.
Oh, that's cool. I was wondering what that was. Here, I'll try to invite David one more time. He might have given up. Thanks for coming on here, though.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me. Sorry I got a little heated before, but honestly, that was really starting to grind my gears. I was mad, bro.
I mean, I'm starting a new job pretty soon, so I'm probably not going to have time to do a lot of these, but David's been kind of pushing me to do one for a while, so.
Well, I'm usually around on the weekends, so, you know.
Yeah, I had a weekend job, but it turned into a full-time job recently, so.
Oh, good for you.
Big money. Hopefully. Oh, man. I think he's off. questions. Yo. Yeah, see? He said yo. No legal abortion equals higher crime. That's a good point. Derp.
Don't hate the little people. I'm sorry for disinfluensis. I did say they might be people, though. I don't know if they're, we could formally call them human beings. I don't know if we, there's interspecies breeding potential there. I don't know if science has actually sussed that out yet.
Hey.
I think they're classified as human beings.
Hey,
you're back.
Yeah, hold on 1 second.
Oh, okay.
Go.
No, they're classified as Homo sapiens. So.
Yeah, well, I guess that's I would say Homo sapien sapien is where I would draw the human, the brackets around human.
There's Neanderthals. There's
So, at what point do you guys say someone becomes a human being?
Well, I personally I think that the best, fairest line that I can draw would be fetus viability. That at the point where you can stay on your own, provided we give you machines and whatever drugs are necessary to keep you alive until you no longer need them, that's a good place.
All right, let me ask you this: Do you know what's the earliest we have, like on record? What's the earliest a baby's been
I believe
born?
it's about 5 or 6 months.
About
5 or 6
about
months.
16 weeks. I mean, about 16 weeks.
That's better than I thought, but that's about 4 months.
Earliest that we have on record. I mean, obviously we had to put they had to put the baby on life support on and everything like that. But yeah, 16.
David, what is the likelihood of survival at that period?
The baby survived on its own.
No. Of a child born at that age.
Like, so are you going to say that child is not a human being?
Is that what I just said, David?
No, I'm asking you.
I'm saying this is a very rare example. It's very hard to get babies to survive
I
at such
admit
an
that
early
it's
stage.
rare, but the baby was born at 16 weeks. Like, would you say that baby was a human being?
Yeah.
It was?
I'm a little
my
about that 16
What
weeks.
was the difference between that baby at 16 weeks? That baby that was born at 16 weeks. What was the difference between the day before it came out and the day before, what was the difference between the day before it came out and the day after it was born? Like, what magically made it turn into a human being just because it came out?
It didn't.
So if it was a human being when it came out, it logically follows that it was a human being before it came out.
As far as abortion goes, that's not my argument against abortion.
That it's not a human being?
No, it's bodily rights argument.
Also, where's your source for the 16 weeks? Because that sounds really incredible to me.
I can get it to you. Like, I can't think of it right now, but I can.
Because I'm just looking at the Wikipedia article off the top of my head, and they're saying that
Pretty close to 20.
20% of babies born at 23 weeks survive.
If
So out of 5, 4 of them die if they come out 23 weeks into gestation.
If you want me to, I can get you the article.
Right, he's talking about something. The odds of survival are like under 5%.
They said 20 to 35% at about 23 weeks of gestation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
and
about,
he's talking about 16 weeks. This is like
that's about 6 months.
I think it's a true case, and it's extremely rare to have something. It's a very low survival rate. It's almost unheard of.
That's the only case that I know of. And if you want me to, GreyKnight, I can find you the article and I'll inbox it to you on YouTube after this.
Then I think regardless, my answer would be that yes, at 16 weeks, then that person was a person.
Okay, it was a person. What was?
My argument's not a personhood argument. My argument is a bodily rights argument.
Okay, what's your argument?
If the woman had I think I gave you this example before. If a woman has a 5-year-old who needs a kidney transplant, should she legally be required to give up her kidney?
Okay, again, you're reducing a kidney transplant is not a human being.
She's using a part of her body to sustain the life of another human.
Okay.
All right, so why should she be required to use a part of her body that risks her life to sustain another human earlier on?
Because that human being is a child. Her baby.
It's a child at 5 years
her
too.
Baby. If she did not want to have her baby, she shouldn't have been having sex.
So you could make the exact same argument if she had I should use a 12-year-old. I don't even think you can give a transplant to a 5-year-old.
What?
So you can make the same argument. 12-year-old child, she should give her kidney. She should have had sex.
If that 5-year-old was her child, I would say she would be obligated to
by law
do everything she can to keep her child from dying.
By law.
Yeah, I would say she would be if that 5-year-old was her child, she would be obligated to do everything she can to keep that child alive.
No matter what the odds are, no matter anything, the government should come in, handcuff the woman, drag her to the hospital, drug her, and cut her open.
I never said that, but thank you for strawmanning me.
Again.
Well, you said by law.
I said she should be required.
All right, if this woman doesn't go give up her kidney, she should be arrested or punished in some way.
No, I never said.
All right, then what is the law going to do?
Be?
What's the point of a law that has no
your
punishment?
Argument understands. Okay, before Roe v. Wade, when abortion was illegal, if a woman still had an abortion, the law would treat the woman as a second victim. Like, the doctor would be the one who would be arrested.
Hey, by the way, FSX, apparently some of your guys' viewers, like Agor Nothing, doesn't know the difference between an abortion and a miscarriage. So can we explain that to you?
Actually, I thought Agor
No,
Nothing
they're actually the same
offered
thing.
a very good...
An abortion and a miscarriage are the same thing.
Yes.
One isn't caused by natural causes, whereas the other one's caused by human. Those are the same things.
Well,
No,
I think what
abortion
Agor
isn't
Nothing
defined
is
that way.
actually...
One's done on purpose, one's done on accident.
What Agor Nothing is actually... He's making a joke about morality, that why is it immoral for us to have abortions, but it's moral for God to cause babies to die. Ba-dum-bum.
Again, okay. Let me ask you, why would it...
It's just demonstrating that morality is subjective.
It's not subjective.
But it is.
Like,
because
the fact that you would have a problem, the fact that you have an issue... Hold on, the fact that you have an issue with your perception that God kills babies proves that you know that's wrong. That killing babies is wrong.
Let me ask you a question.
Right, God's wrong.
No, I'm just...
Okay, you see the cat that I'm holding? Not that I would ever do this, but would you have a problem if I dismembered her on this?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Why? Why?
Because I like cats.
You like? Okay.
Okay, but he doesn't give a shit what you like.
By the way,
Right. I can't stop you from killing your cat. You're correct.
But I wouldn't do.
But
what's your point? What's your point?
You're making morality arbitrary.
It is. You can go kill your cat and think it's just fine.
It's not arbitrary. It's subjective.
You like
Stop
vanilla.
switching those words around. They're distinct.
Like vanilla. He likes killing cats. You telling him he's wrong.
It's not arbitrary. It's subjective. Do you not understand the difference between those two words?
You telling him that he's wrong for liking to kill cats is like you telling me that I'm wrong for liking chocolate ice cream.
No. I can tell you.
They're wrong in different ways.
No.
They're wrong, but they're wrong for different reasons.
So me liking chocolate ice cream is wrong?
We haven't even established.
Yes, because clearly vanilla is the best flavor.
You are damn right. Vanilla's better than chocolate. Chocolate sucks.
You call it wrong. We haven't even established the grounds for you to call it wrong.
You have absolutely no grounds to say something's wrong.
My own. You don't like it.
One's a matter of taste, and one is something that's immoral.
It's
not immoral to like chocolate.
You have no standard to say something's immoral.
Yes, I do. My own.
You reduce it to a matter of mere opinion.
Yes, it is an opinion.
Okay, I like chocolate ice cream. You can't.
But opinion plays into it.
I like
there are things that are just don't work. If you had a society that allowed incest or murder or rape, it eventually becomes toxic and self-destructive.
Is raping babies?
Those are just objectively
absolutely wrong.
Verifiable.
Is raping babies for fun absolutely wrong?
How could it be absolutely wrong?
So do you admit that?
No. I'm gonna bite this one and say yes. Raping babies, raping human babies for fun is absolutely wrong. There's no reason why you should ever do that for fun.
So it's absolutely wrong for fun.
Correct.
You just said morality was subjective. Do you not see the inconsistency there?
Morality can
You deny
simultaneously
there are no
subjective
absolutes.
and absolute. No, morality can be subjective and absolute. Yes, it both can come into play. Yeah, that's very confusing. But let me give you an example.
morality can be a matter of
Excuse me if I could
opinion
give
and
you an
absolute.
example, and I'll give you an example from what Jo3jo said to me. I'm sorry, that's your screen name. What Joe said to me in a previous debate that he wouldn't kill Hitler, even if he was given the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right. So what he's saying is that to him, killing is absolutely wrong. He would not choose it even if it were the lesser of two evils. For him, there's a prohibition against killing. It's a line he simply wouldn't cross. That is an absolute morality. That's an example of a subjective, absolute morality. I may actually pick the lesser of two evils. So I recognize it's immoral, but it's not absolutely immoral for me. So these are very subtle philosophical points, but you kind of stomp all over the place and like interchange these words like you can do that. Like that's legal. No.
What Joe was
That's not even accurate, dude.
About that analogy, like you strawmanned him. He was not saying to him it's wrong. He was saying he knows that murder is wrong. That's why he wouldn't do that.
No, I'm describing what he said. I'm saying that was his answer.
And you strawmanned him. That's not what he said.
No, I didn't strawman him. That's literally what he said. And I invite anyone to go back to that previous debate on my channel and go see for themselves what he said.
Yeah, I was there. I was there in person. Remember?
So was I. Yeah,
me too. Just forget that I was sitting right there?
Did you forget I was in the conversation? I mean, we can do that all day.
I was in the conversation too.
Well, anybody who the conversation was recorded, we all have, we have it on our respective channels. If any viewers would like to go see what was said and whether what I just said about absolute morality doesn't apply, I leave it to the viewer to decide.
Yeah. All right. David. I'm asking you have a source of absolute morality. Is that what you're telling me?
No, Joe was trying to ask GreyKnight or something.
No, I was saying, for everybody that's viewing, I'm on my computer right now, and I'm watching your guys' comments, so I know you can hear me. For everybody that's viewing, please go check it out. Please go listen to yourselves.
All right, do you guys have a source of absolute morality
that
we're failing to see?
We're not failing to see it. We know it intuitively.
No, that me and GreyKnight are failing to see. You have a source of absolute morality.
The GreyKnight, but
not GreyKnight, GreyKnight.
hey, we gotta trick you into saying something now for each.
No, he did say that. He said GreyKnight.
I don't think I did. My name is heresy.
I think I said GreyKnight the first time too. But if I did it, I apologize.
No, but
anyway. Do you have a source of absolute morality that we are failing to see?
You're not failing to see it, but yeah, there is a source of morality, and that's God's nature.
All right. How could that be possible if God doesn't exist?
That's not, God does exist. That's how know it's possible.
All right. Justify God's existence then.
You're suppressing the truth and unrighteousness.
Prove. You're just saying God exists. That's your whole argument.
No, you know He exists.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Prove your God exists. You can't use him for anything.
Without God's existence, you cannot know anything.
All right. Maybe we can't know anything. You haven't justified God's existence yet.
When you deny that God exists, your worldview is reduced to absurdity. That's why GreyKnight and you are making logical contradictions, like there are no absolutes, and then you turn around and say, "Oh, it's absolutely wrong to rape babies for fun."
Well, I didn't say that. But you're the one who suggested a God exists, so you have to demonstrate that.
Hold on a second.
The impossibility, the contrary.
How is that impossible?
Because without God's existence, you cannot know anything.
No, your argument is entirely God exists. That's it. You haven't justified it. You're just saying He exists.
Your argument is existence exists.
Yeah. You're laughing at that? Is that funny to you? Because existence couldn't exist, could it?
Yeah. Obviously. You said existence exists, and I know this because I'm thinking, and I'm thinking because I exist. That's circular.
All right, so I could be wrong, right?
You are wrong.
Oh, I'm wrong. I don't exist.
No, I didn't say
that. Wow, you guys are geniuses. This is a great argument.
You don't even have to justify that existence.
You're making a circular argument.
Yeah, you're making a knowledge claim without a basis.
Are you saying that existence doesn't exist?
No, what I'm saying is you're
I'm just pointing out the circular
then we're all
argument.
on the same page. It's not a circular argument. It's actually a tautology. Existence exists because existence can't be non-existence.
Circular.
No, that's a tautology. It's not circular.
You know what the definition of a tautology is?
Do you know what a tautology is? Why don't you explain it to me, David?
Do you know the definition of a tautology?
Yeah, I'm asking you to tell me.
You cannot answer.
No, I don't know what a tautautology is, David.
Why
don't you explain it to me?
You cannot answer a question with a question.
Yeah, you can.
What is a tautology, David?
It's an argument that simply restates itself. It's essentially circular.
Which is self-evident.
Right.
It's not that it's circular.
He's frozen.
It is necessarily true. It's irrational to say that existence could be non-existence.
Right. Well, I was hoping they were going to get into this, what do you know and how do you know it, because there's finally been a great refutation to that, and that is, I know I'm not omniscient.
Yes, that's correct.
And it's even better than the my existence thing, in that essentially they have to argue, well, you could know everything.
Yeah, well, that's yeah, that's a non-starter.
Right, there's no real
I
way
mean,
to...
You know everything that you don't know.
You could be wrong about knowing everything.
I mean, I know that I exist in 3 dimensions, and I can't really imagine a 4th perpendicular.
Well, some people say you exist in 11 dimensions.
Maybe. I just haven't noticed them yet.
I haven't either. Oh, now he's out of here. I'll invite him one last time. I might get out of here in about 20 minutes, but...
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you calling from the East Coast?
Yes, I am. I'm up in Massachusetts.
Oh, nice. Get a lot of guys from around there.
Yeah.
I'm obviously from Colorado.
There's quite a few atheists down there.
Yeah?
Do you follow Agent of Doubt at all?
No, I don't.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. I think that he's in the Colorado area.
Oh, that's cool. Colorado's a pretty interesting and diverse place. So.
Yes.
It's very not...
I can marry my cat and fire a bazooka at the reception. It's amazing. It's incredible that you haven't... Everybody hasn't killed each other. You're all just like... Yeah, there's a lot of different opinions and a lot of liberty down there. Somehow it works.
You can't marry a cat, but I think at the end of the year you can marry a guy or a chick if you're...
Yeah, well, hyperbole, but...
And we limited our rounds to 15 recently, so...
You've limited what to 15?
Bullets in a gun.
Oh, well...
So... I guess that's an improvement in some way.
No, but there's a lot of free thinkers and even very I think like the term is Unitarian or
we're back.
Churches?
Yeah, like churches that are effectively kind of
Universalists.
Universalists. That's what I'm thinking of.
Hey, we're back.
Yeah, a lot of them.
We're talking about Colorado and how great it is.
Oh, really?
Except Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs sucks.
Yeah, right. Colorado Springs is better than Denver. 719 all the way.
Oh, God. If you go to Colorado Springs, it's gotten really conservative. If you turn off the interstate, there's a sign that says, essentially they're saying they're not going to pay for speed signs anymore to show how fast you can drive. So they're like, yeah, just go 40 miles an hour throughout the city. We don't want to pay for speed limit signs.
Honor system, everybody.
Honor system.
It actually works. That's the crazy thing. It must be that you guys have no oxygen at that altitude.
A couple years ago, they
nobody's
said
brain is working like in any sort of maligned way. Everybody's just lightheaded and happy.
I went there 3 years ago, and the lights were off in this whole neighborhood because the city didn't want to pay for the lights.
Damn.
It was a nice neighborhood, and the police said it'd take an hour for. Anyway, no more bashing Colorado Springs.
Farid knows that 719 is greater than 303.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, shit. Yo, dude.
That's an objective truth. 719. Dude.
Yo, just as we're saying this, look who texted me. If you guys can see it.
I don't know.
The Mormon missionaries just text me.
I have some Mormons downstairs, but they never want to show up at my house. I'm so excited.
I wonder why, Farid.
I don't know. I would so talk to Mormons. I love Mormons.
Don't get me wrong, I like you, you're cool, but you're also kind of an ass.
Well, they don't know I'm an ass.
Yeah, but Mormons can be assholes too. So.
Well,
they're also racist too. So.
Yeah, their book is racist, but I wouldn't call Mormons racist. I know quite a few Mormons, and just like Christians like yourself, they find ways of justifying their books like slavery and whatnot and racism.
They don't find
so anyway,
we just know how to take our book in context.
Yeah.
The context is slavery is okay in some situations.
That's okay. All right.
All right. Okay. So you guys were before we got up.
You guys say that raping babies could be right in some context.
Hey, so,
I didn't say that.
No, we didn't. Okay. But anyway,
hey, Pol Pot was an atheist, so we think you're all Pol Pot now. You know.
All right, Pol Pot believes in gravity. What's your point?
What I'm saying is he took your worldview.
Pol Pot could recognize obvious things. What a surprise!
But what I'm saying is, if you want to lump us together, we could do with you guys too. He was an atheist.
Yeah, he could recognize things that are obvious. What's your point?
He also murdered like how many people? So that's my point.
All right, he can recognize obvious things. That means recognizing obvious things and murder are the same thing.
No, what I'm saying is.
That means since he was an atheist and he murdered millions of people.
Therefore, I'm a murderer.
That means all atheists are murderers.
Well, you're
wow,
together,
David, you get you've accused me of doing a straw man like 4 times on this thing, and now you're creating like the most obvious straw man you could possibly create.
Okay, I know. I was telling you what he was saying.
Yeah, I was saying it for the simple fact that you're lumping us together. So
you lumped us together, so we can lump you guys together.
I didn't lump you together. How did I just lump you together?
You just compared us to Mormons, but just changed how we defend things.
Oh yeah, you guys both believe in gods. Yeah.
Yeah, but you compared the Book of Mormon on racism to us, and where you took a straw man at us was saying that we would endorse slavery when we don't.
Well, yes, the Mormon book supports horrible things, and so does your religion.
We just explained.
Yeah, we just explained that.
No, we showed slavery.
Again, by what standard do you say something's horrible? You have no standard to say it.
I have, but you don't listen, so I'm not going to.
No, you can say no. You have a standard to say what's horrible for you. You can't talk for anybody else.
Yeah,
I can have an opinion.
But you can't.
It's just your opinion.
You cannot say that.
Yes, it is just my opinion. What's your point?
Yeah, but you can't say the Bible says stuff that's horrible because that's just your opinion.
From my opinion. Yes, I can say it.
But you have no authority to say that. You have no.
So does that stop me from saying it?
That's your opinion. That's like you telling me.
Yes, it's my opinion.
It's like you telling me I'm wrong for liking chocolate ice cream.
Right. Chocolate ice cream isn't really that important. Slavery, I think, is a pretty big issue.
Why is it big? It's just like you reduce morality.
Why is it big?
You reduce morality to something that's arbitrary and a matter of mere opinion. So by your own admission,
I've actually explained it more than that.
Logic, slavery and chocolate ice cream are reduced to the same level because they're both arbitrary.
No.
That's
they're not
what you're
the same
doing.
level.
You're reducing.
There's a difference between subjective and arbitrary.
What's the difference?
Well, one is varying upon information, varying upon predilection, and another is just based pretty much on nothing.
Subjective is a matter of mere opinion. Arbitrary is meaningless.
Meaning raping a baby versus eating liver-flavored ice cream. While they are both wrong, they are not both wrong and important in the same way.
You can't tell us why they're wrong yet.
Yeah, you have no standard.
Liver ice cream tastes like crap, and raping babies is morally abhorrent.
That's the most ridiculous argument. I could just as easily say I'm pointing to just point to the law and say that's why it's wrong, and that's the basis for why it's wrong.
So majority decides what's wrong.
You're making an
argument. No, the majority determines laws.
The reality as it is.
So whatever majority decides what the laws are, that's what's right. That's what becomes right.
No, that's what the laws are.
So the law.
Someone could say that it's morally wrong because the law says that it's wrong. And that's a completely valid basis for going about your life.
So anything the law says is wrong is wrong.
To someone who says that, yes, and that's a completely legitimate way of going about your life. That's completely functional.
That's a legitimate.
Are you saying that that's not the case? Are you saying that's correct? So someone who
there's cases in history replete of examples where the government said something was right and it clearly was not right.
So how did we determine it was wrong?
Well, let me ask this: do you guys like animals?
But your point was that someone who doesn't have the Bible doesn't have any basis for saying that anything is right or wrong.
And I never said that.
Again, you're
just strong.
Okay, then tell me exactly what you said.
I said that my argument is that all people know right and wrong because we're all made in the image of God. You don't need the Bible to know right and wrong because we're made in the image of God.
But God doesn't exist.
When you're in trouble as a kid, before you know anything about the Bible, you know why is it automatically that a child runs from their parent when they've committed something that their parent doesn't want them to do, and they don't know the Bible? They knew it was wrong.
You're telling me again that I know something that I don't know. Like you're jumping the gun here, where you're telling me that everybody has a moral compass. That's why everybody knows what morality is.
Do you have kids, GreyKnight?
We've covered this already. No.
I don't remember if you did or not. But would you say for a child that doesn't know the Bible yet, maybe they're 6 or 7 months old, and they did something that they knew they got in trouble for, would you say that, or if they do something that they know against their parent, would you say that the way that child tries to either cover, maybe let's go to 2 years, because that's a little bit more logical, and by then they know the difference between right and wrong, but they don't know the Bible yet.
Wait, so a 6 and 7-year-old doesn't know God exists?
No, I said a 2-year-old.
A 2-year-old doesn't know God exists.
No, they do. What I'm saying is they don't know the Bible yet.
Please, let's not go into all babies are atheists.
Okay.
Nobody's an atheist.
I don't have the strength for that. No, I am an atheist. I do not know that God exists. I do not believe that God exists.
Okay.
You are also an agnostic because you don't know that God exists, not in the way that we formally use the word know, meaning something that you can demonstrate.
Actually, no, we do know.
No, you don't. You can't demonstrate it to me. You can't evidence it to me.
We just did.
If you could, then I probably wouldn't be an atheist.
When you deny that God exists,
no one would be an atheist if you could actually demonstrate God in an empirical way. That's what Gnostic would mean. No one's Gnostic.
David, if you want, I can assume your style of argumentation.
And that's a fact.
We're just pointing out how your world view.
All right, guess what? You know God doesn't exist. That's why you wear a seatbelt.
Well, we wear a seatbelt because
actually, you don't know that. You don't know that I don't. That I wear a seatbelt.
No, if you accept something without evidence or anything, then your worldview is reduced to absurdity. You obviously know God doesn't exist.
No, we wear a
seatbelt. Like you're saying, like your argument is that I wear a seatbelt. You don't know that I don't wear seatbelts actually.
But,
so that just refuted your whole argument.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. I'll put it to you this way. I
don't believe in seatbelts.
I do wear a seatbelt, and you want to know why? Because as a human being, I want to live. I don't want to die.
Why? Go to heaven. You're going, right?
I would say that I am, but I still don't want to die. I like living. I like here on Earth.
Well, you don't.
I like conversation. I like talking to you guys.
Well, that's the thing with Calvinists. They don't know that
is not what God's purpose
and they have no indication that they might be going to heaven because their deeds and actions and thoughts and behaviors in this life have absolutely no impact on the hereafter.
But GreyKnight, you don't know that.
Well, no, I'm saying that that's your belief as a Calvinist. Am I incorrect in that?
What?
That your salvation is not determined by your actions and your behaviors in this world. That's only reserved by God's will and selected beforehand, the elect, if you will.
Again, you just described hyper-Calvinism.
Okay.
Hyper-Calvin, is that a term?
Yeah. Yes, that is a term.
That's what the Westboro Baptist Church is.
Yeah, they
take the
They're more consistent.
They take the sovereignty of the doctrine. They take the doctrine of the sovereignty of God, and they make it swallow everything else. Like, yeah, we do agree that our salvation is not based on anything that we do, say, or think, or whatever on this earth. It's based purely upon God's grace alone. but that grace is found in Christ. So our faith is in Christ alone.
But that has no impact on whether or not you're going to be saved, because that's reserved for the elect, correct?
Yes, it does. Our faith in Christ impacts who we're saved. But our faith is not of ourselves.
It was given to us.
I mean, if he existed or if God existed, that would be a good argument, but you haven't justified any of that, so.
Again, you have not justified that God does not exist.
I don't have to.
It's a claim.
Okay,
It's a claim, isn't it?
Okay.
No,
okay,
I don't
perfect.
believe
Let me ask
you.
you this.
I don't
Hold
believe
on.
you.
Okay, so you guys, hold on. So you guys redefine the word atheism to mean sort of like an atheism.
No, we
Like,
looked it up.
oh
we
my
looked it up
goodness.
the other day. We looked it up the other day, and it matched my definition.
William
Can
Lane
you
Craig,
let me-
where did you come from?
Can you please let me finish? Like,
William
how do
Lane
you
Craig from the
how do you
knowledgeable
how do you distinguish your guys' definition of atheism with other forms of non-theism?
I don't.
What do you
I'm
mean?
only aware of one brand of atheism
Like,
where
like
people
that, what's
who
traditionally
don't
called
believe in a
empiricism,
god or
like
gods
what's traditionally called
are
empiricism,
atheists.
verificationism, and agnosticism.
I'm an agnostic, too.
So you're saying that you know that God doesn't exist, but you think that God might exist.
No, I don't believe God
That's what you just
exists.
did.
And I also don't know for sure he doesn't.
Okay, if
Not believing God
if you
exists.
don't believe he exists, that means you believe he does not exist.
No, it means I don't have a belief in a God.
No, I also believe
Okay,
that
but
he
that
does-
means you
he does
believe
not-
God does not
I
exist.
believe that he
No,
does
that is-
not exist.
That is anti-theism, and I am also an anti-theist. So you can go ahead and argue the anti-theist position with us if you want.
Okay,
That's
The
what I said.
definition of atheism is a claim that God does not.
okay.
No, you
This
looked
is
it up
real
the other day.
simple
Why
logic
are you
right
guys
here.
so no. You guys are so dishonest. You looked this up the other day and it matched my definition, and now you just go ahead and use your own anyway. That is the most dishonest thing ever.
I will go back and get the dictionary.
We already looked it up. We already looked it up. You are so dishonest. Yeah, you're gonna go get your 1973 dictionary. Why the hell would you even have that?
What are we even arguing over? I mean, yes, we believe that there is no God.
They want to straw man our position because that's all they can argue
I
against.
also have a definition, but I also have a version, a 2012 version of that very same dictionary, which I read it out of.
Who
What's your
cares?
point?
Okay,
Do you understand?
listen.
Fucking Lord.
This is very simple logic. Anytime you make a negative statement, like that you're automatically you're affirming something else.
I'm not making a negative statement.
I'm saying there's nothing there.
I don't. When you say I don't believe in Santa Claus, you're affirming that you believe Santa Claus does not exist.
I'm saying there's nothing there.
No.
Oh,
It's meaning I haven't been
the
convinced.
Mormons wanted, and the Mormons wanted me to tell you guys something.
Okay.
They asked what I said debating two atheists. They said about what I said, the existence of God, and they said, "Oh, do they know that God is an actual human being with a tangible body?" So he's an actual human being with a tangible body. I just want to let you guys know.
Well, you guys believe the same thing.
No, we don't.
We believe
Yeah,
that
Jesus.
wasn't.
Yeah, Jesus is God,
We
right?
believe that Jesus was God and he was human.
Okay.
Yeah,
The definition
tangible
of
body.
atheism. The definition. Hold on. The definition of atheism: disbelief in or denial of the existence of God. The doctrine
Okay.
that there
That's
is
our definition,
God.
genius.
The two definitions are the same, saying the same thing.
Disbelief.
Get to
Not
your point.
knowing there's no God.
Fine, I deny whatever it said in the book.
Disbelief
Put me
in
down for
or
that and get on with your
denial.
point.
Yeah, denial doesn't mean you know God doesn't exist. Go ahead.
Here's what
If you make a denial, you're saying God does not exist.
Yes,
No,
I am comfortable saying that to you, David. God does not exist.
David, I'm comfortable saying that too, but I'm going to define that as an anti-theist. So I'm an anti-theist.
Okay.
Argue against that position. Go ahead.
Okay, so what's your evidence that God does not exist?
I don't need it.
Okay, now you officially made a claim by saying.
Yeah, you
God
officially
does not.
made a claim now. So what's your evidence to back up your claim? What's your evidence to back up your claim?
Let me give you a parallel for this. It's a very old one, and I'm surprised that you haven't heard this yet. Let's say that you propose that there is a teapot orbiting. Excuse me, please don't let the beginning of your sentence interrupt the middle of mine. Let's say you propose that there's a teapot orbiting Pluto, how am I going to disprove that? Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't heard this. And I say, no, there is no such thing there. That's ridiculous. No one's ever been to Pluto, let alone brought a tea set with them.
Yeah, I thought you said something else.
Yeah, let's say you propose there's a teapot orbiting Pluto, and I can't offer evidence that that's not the case because we can't frickin' get out to Pluto anytime soon.
We have pictures from satellites that can prove there's no teapot floating around.
No, we don't.
No, we don't. We don't have anything like the resolution.
No, we don't.
Dude, that is crazy.
We don't have close-ups. We don't have close-ups, but we do have pictures of Pluto.
Dog, last year, an asteroid
that can resolve
and exploded over Russia. We can't see cold bodies that are ginormous by comparison to a teapot that's like in our backyard. Forget about finding a teapot that's out in orbit of Pluto. That's insane.
Yeah.
We don't have anything like that.
We don't have
let me ask you this. You're using this argument to pretty much say that you cannot prove a negative, right?
No, I'm using this argument to point out the validity of the null hypothesis. That if you don't have evidence for the less likely case, you go with the more likely case. You go with what you know. And we know
that would leave you with if you did not.
We don't know that there is a teapot out. In essence, we don't know that there is a teapot out in Pluto. So it's reasonable to assume that there is none.
Are you a naturalist?
I suppose yes.
So you deny that the supernatural exists.
I don't believe that it does.
The supernatural is by definition impossible. Go ahead.
It depends on what you're calling, where you draw the boundaries. I mean, epistemologically, it depends on what you draw the brackets around to say what natural is. If it's our visible, knowable universe, then yeah, maybe there are some things that are supernatural to our experience.
I'm gonna go with Farid's answer because he said no, it does not exist. I'm just gonna go with that.
Farid's shaking his head, so I'm gonna no. Excuse me, I got to explain this to Farid. I mean, it depends on epistemologically what you're talking about. Like if there is what you were talking about before, where there might be 11 dimensions or 14 or however many they're saying there are.
When I say supernatural,
wait. Let me define
definitions that those extra dimensions might in fact be supernatural because they're not in the order of nature as we can observe and experience it. I don't necessarily think that that's true. But
David, let me define
say that.
Sorry, let me define my definition of natural. The natural world is that which exists.
Yes, you told me that before.
All right, so supernatural cannot exist. Go ahead.
Okay.
Supernatural doesn't live in time, therefore we wouldn't say
supernatural doesn't live in time, so we wouldn't say that.
Does it exist?
Outside of time, so not to
all right, it still exists. I'm defining it as that which exists.
No. You don't get to cut me off. Hold on, I've been right to all you guys. Don't cut me off. What I'm saying is, outside of time, in the human being, outside of time, as far as a human being can be, it does not exist because it does not exist in our realm. That's the best.
Does it exist?
No, not.
Okay.
It doesn't exist.
Let me explain.
Go ahead.
Okay, let me explain to you guys what I mean when I use the word supernatural. Supernatural. Okay, when I use the word natural, I'm talking about anything that like this physical realm. That would include any other galaxies outside of our galaxy, because that's still part of the physical realm.
Sure. Yes.
So when I say supernatural, I'm meaning anything outside of the natural realm, of the physical realm. That's what I'm talking about. So by using my definition, would you say that the supernatural does not exist?
Well,
are you a naturalist in that sense?
How could I determine something's natural, and how could I determine it's supernatural?
Anything in the physical realm is natural.
What is a physical realm? You're being really vague.
No, I'm not.
Just as a for instance, like let's say some Ghostbusters
the chair that you're sitting on is physical.
And like Marshmallow Men are appearing in the middle of Central Park West in Manhattan. earthquakes, lightning, dogs and cats living together, like blatantly supernatural shit. Like, yeah, if that happened, then I would say, yeah, that's a good working model for like what something supernatural would look like.
Well, I would say that's
for
supernatural.
purposes of this conversation.
All the natural, but I would still say that's natural.
Well, I'm going to stick with the natural world is that which exists. And I can't waste my time with these other definitions because they're so vague and they're not defined.
Oh, I'm going by what I just explained to you.
And it was nonsensical.
It wasn't nonsensical.
It was.
Non-natural realm, the physical realm.
That which exists. That's it. That's all I can do. I can't play games with these words you have not defined in any way.
I did define it. The natural realm is the physical realm. That's not vague at all.
No, it is. It is. You're giving yourself the leeway to define things into existence, and I'm not going to allow it.
No.
The natural world is that which exists.
I'm not doing that. I'm defining things so you can
which exists.
So I can ask my question. That's all I'm doing.
All right.
Like, we're going by my definitions.
Your definition makes no sense. So go ahead. I can't answer your question. All right, I can't answer your question. It makes no sense. I can't answer it. So go ahead and ask a question. I can't answer it.
Do you know what physical means?
Yes, I do.
What does physical mean?
Physical? That which exists.
Yes. No, I'm not saying physical realm. I'm just saying physical.
Yes, that which exists.
I'm not talking about physical realm. Do you know what natural means? What natural means?
Yes. We're talking about the real world.
Get off that topic. I'm just saying, just generally. Do you know what the word natural means?
There are several ways to define it. I'm talking about what exists. There's also a way of defining natural means that which is created by human beings and that which exists outside of human intervention.
Okay, when I say physical realm, I'm talking about like stuff like the tangible, like this earth. This earth is physical, stuff that you could touch, see, feel, and everything.
Doesn't mean that which exists is better. Just because we haven't discovered something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Doesn't mean it's not part of the natural world or the physical realm.
Exactly.
What's wrong with my definition, David?
So when you're saying,
what's wrong with my definition?
When you define the physical realm to be that which exists, there's things that we haven't discovered. So by that logic, you would say
they still exist.
They don't exist.
No, they're still part of that world.
We haven't discovered them.
Right. There are things
that don't exist.
There are things part of the natural world that we haven't discovered.
And there's things that we're aware of that we just don't understand. I mean, there's dark matter and dark energy, and as far as we know, like that shit doesn't even apply to us. Except
you don't like my definition because you want to
no idea what's going on with that at all. Does that make it supernatural? I don't think so. And by what Fareed's definition is, it would not be, even though we have almost no understanding of it. It's a complete black box. Like all we know is it just throws gravity around.
Okay.
David, you don't like my definition because you want to slip something in that doesn't exist, which is your God.
Oh, anyways, going back to my original question, like
I'm basing off my definition.
You guys are naturalists.
Gravity and acceleration, I guess.
You guys are naturalists. You deny that the supernatural exists. And what I was going to say, even if there was no evidence at all for the supernatural, that still does not lead you to automatically assume that the supernatural does not exist.
Yes, by my definition, it does.
Yeah, I mean, it goes with
because you haven't discovered it. Just because you just said, Fareed, that just because you haven't discovered something does not mean it does not exist.
Right, it would still be part of the natural world, not the supernatural world.
The supernatural, that does not mean the supernatural does not exist.
No, Dave, you're straw-manning me now. I didn't describe the natural world as that which I am aware of. I said that which exists, if I'm aware of it or not.
So, exactly. So, by that definition, the supernatural...
Everything has to be natural.
The supernatural could exist. You're just not aware.
Could not exist because natural is defined by existing.
Oh my God. You just said that the natural world is defined by existence, regardless if you're aware of it or not.
Yes. So the supernatural...
It sounds like you're asking...
Just because you're not...
Can I be aware of something that I'm not aware of?
That it could still exist.
No, by definition it couldn't exist because I've defined it that way.
You're asking him if he's aware of anything that he's not aware of. That's a reductio ad absurdum. You can't. That doesn't even make sense.
No, I'm not asking him that. I'm just pointing out.
Yes, you're literally asking
I'm just
him that.
poking a hole in his logic.
You have poked no hole in my logic.
Yes,
Yeah,
I have.
What you're saying is an absurd reduction.
No,
like
You're saying, David, your argument is coming down.
He just conceded that the supernatural could exist.
No, I did not. You're lying.
Yes, you did.
I said by definition it cannot exist.
Okay. Did you
All
not?
right, don't ever say I said that again.
Did you not just say that just because you're not aware of something,
by his definition,
just because you did not discover something, it could still exist?
Yes, and it'd still be part of the natural world.
No, you did not discover the supernatural. You're not aware of the supernatural, but it could still exist by your own admission.
No, it can't, because I've defined the natural world as that which exists.
The second it's observed in nature, it's part of the natural world. I would draw the line a little bit further and say that, if it's simply just seeing something in nature, like I said before, like if a 100-foot tall marshmallow man appeared in the middle of New York City and started wrecking shop, like, science has nothing for that. I mean, I'm not sure whether that would necessarily make it supernatural, but he'd be a pretty good candidate for something that's supernatural.
Are you asking us to define supernatural in terms that would make our natural mind understand it, therefore negating it being supernatural?
No, you guys ignore what I say. That's what happens. I told you what I mean, and you just ignore it.
We're giving you our understanding of what you're saying.
All right, what have I defined the natural world as? Because you guys appear to ignore it.
You define the natural world as existence.
That which exists. All right.
Yeah.
So how could the supernatural exist?
And then you said that just because we have not discovered something, or that we're not aware of something, does not mean it does not exist. So going by that same logic, your own words, just because you're not aware of the supernatural, or that you have not discovered the supernatural, does not mean it does not exist.
Yes, it does, because if it existed...
Wait. That the supernatural could possibly exist.
David, can I answer? Can I answer?
Yeah.
All right, the natural world is that which exists. The supernatural cannot exist.
And then you said just because you're not aware of something does not mean it doesn't exist.
You're asking him if something that
can
doesn't
exist outside of existence. That's what you're asking me.
Hold on.
What can exist outside of existence? That makes no sense.
Could something non-existent exist?
We're not saying that the supernatural exists. It is real, but it doesn't exist in the terms that we would use in this.
From Fareed's perspective, if I'm taking you correctly, that is not possible. What I'm saying is that by my definition of supernatural, if we encounter something in the physical world that we're aware of, and it doesn't seem to fit into some natural order of causality, like it seemed to wink into existence, or it generates energy in a way that something ought not to. It just defies all forms of physics.
So pretty much
may in fact be supernatural. I mean, by a certain definition. Perhaps by my definition, I would consider that to be something supernatural. Yes.
Well,
could something like that? Could something like that exist?
What you're saying is
we have no evidence for it.
What you're saying is, in order for you to know that the supernatural exists, you have to see something. You have to see evidence of the supernatural in the natural realm.
To me, yes. I don't believe that that's a representation of Fareed's experience.
You pretty much want validation of supernatural in the natural realm.
No, it can't. Oh, fucking Lord.
Do you not
see
what
is the supernatural
in that GreyKnight?
I'm saying that if there was something that presented itself in the natural world that defied any possible natural observable explanation as far as we understand the order of the universe to work, then yes, that by some ontologies would be a supernatural event.
It would have to exist in the natural world.
You'd have to be able to experience it. You'd have to be able to see it or touch it or taste it or know that it's there in some way. Yeah, you'd have to experience it. Otherwise, it doesn't exist.
Yeah. So in order for you to have validation of the supernatural, you have to experience. You have to see it in the natural.
Yes, it literally has to exist in order for it to be a thing.
Yeah. Do you know what the definition of supernatural is?
That's my point. You haven't defined it.
Supernatural, beyond nature.
Yes.
Okay, what does that mean? That's a nonsensical thing.
Nature, the physical realm.
You don't know what that means, David.
Things that you touch, feel, taste, and hear.
Okay, so magnetism, is that supernatural? You don't touch, feel, taste, or hear it.
Like, I didn't. What'd you say?
Magnetism.
A proton exists. You can't touch, still, face, or hear it.
I'm not familiar with that, so I can't answer that.
All right, exactly. You have not defined supernatural in a very good way.
No, I define the natural realm.
Radio waves. You can't touch, still, face, or hear them.
This physical earth.
Justice.
Right. You've made this definition, and you haven't thought it out as much as I have. And now I find ways to show that what you think makes sense doesn't make sense.
You have not done anything like that.
Yes, I have. I've defined the natural world in a way that is logically reasonable.
This physical realm is this physical earth.
You don't. Okay, so the physical realm is the earth. Nothing exists. Anything outside the earth is.
No. Okay.
All right. Make a definition, David. You're not making sense.
The physical realm is anything that you can hear, taste, touch, smell.
All right, magnetism is supernatural.
What?
Magnetism, supernatural under your definition.
I don't know. I can't answer that. I don't know what magnetism is.
You don't know what magnetism is? Okay.
No, I don't. I can't answer that.
It's electromagnetic field. It's what keeps your freaking magnets pushing away. What makes your little needle on your compass point up.
We can test the reasonings on why that happened, therefore.
Well, it's supernatural, though, under your definition.
No, we can see it happen in the physical realm.
No, you can see something that it affects. You can't physically see magnetism.
Still, we see the effects of it. So
right, but you can't see it itself. So the actual magnetism is supernatural.
Has science?
Wind. We can't see wind.
Yeah, science has
wind, but wind is still considered a natural cause.
You can feel the wind. You can hear it.
We can't see it.
We can't see it.
Right.
Well,
so it's supernatural. It's supernatural given your horrible definition.
Okay. No, I admit that there are things outside of the physical realm. I do not deny that.
Like what?
Yeah.
What is the physical realm, David? You haven't even defined something that accounts for the regular things we know. Well, yeah, things you can touch and stuff, and I already showed you things.
Smell and feel and taste.
Well, right. The early Christians agreed with us. That's why they told all those stories about miracles, David. I mean, that's why Red Seas were parted and manna fell from heaven. That's why water was changed into wine.
Oh,
because those that would be by my definition supernatural. I mean, those are things that can't happen.
Yeah. Under David's definition, radios and magnets are magic.
Well, let's use mine.
I would not. Thank you for strawmanning, Fareed.
It's not strawman. It doesn't fall under. It's not physical. It's not part of the physical realm.
You don't see, touch, taste, smell, or hear it.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So I didn't strawman you. Make a better definition.
I know. I wasn't saying.
He's just pointing out the flaw in your definition, David. Don't get so
I didn't say that. I didn't say they were magic.
I'm being a smartass. They're supernatural. Same thing.
He's being facetious. But the point is that that's not a very robust definition.
Supernatural and magic are not the same thing.
All right, give me a better definition. Your definition is insufficient.
No, it's not insufficient.
All right.
Like this table, table that my laptop's sitting on is natural. It's part of the natural realm.
But the signal coming. But the signal going to your laptop through the air, that's supernatural.
There's other things too that you don't touch or hear or taste.
I can see the effects of the signal going through my laptop in the air.
The signal itself, though, is magic.
So that's what makes it part of the natural realm.
Justice, freedom, liberty, like all of these things that
Now we're getting into morality, which you guys have.
No. Those are things. They're things that you don't hear or taste or touch or smell or see.
Justice has to do with morality.
Yeah, you also can't.
But their things are both. But by your definition, would they be natural?
About morality.
Would they be natural or would they be supernatural by your definition?
There's also things that
it's a rhetorical question. By your definition, they would be supernatural.
Yes, morality is supernatural.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yes, morality is supernatural because morality comes from God's nature.
What is wrong with my definition of natural?
That's so deliciously circular, David. I thank you for that one.
Morality
is supernatural because God is supernatural and morality is God. That's
But
wonderfully,
existence is
perfectly
existence
circular.
is circular.
Could existence
All
not
arguments are
exist?
circular.
David, can existence not exist?
Let me ask you a question first.
Oh, yeah, okay. Ignore it.
No, Joe's trying to ask you a question.
Do the laws
Alright.
of logic exist?
Yes.
What are they made of? Do they exist in the physical realm?
Yeah, they exist in a medium.
Okay. Do they exist in the medium? Like, in other words, some kind of storage holder, a CD, a mind, a computer, a database.
Exactly.
Okay. So, but that's where they exist in. Okay. Do they exist in a physical form?
Yes, in a medium, that is a physical form.
But
So
they're not.
information-
You
the
can't
laws of
experience
logic-
them directly.
Right. So the laws of logic are physical.
Yes. I know a lot of people
Okay.
disagree with my position that the laws themselves are physical.
let me ask you a question. So whatever word...
Can you bring me the laws of logic in a cup, please?
Sure, I could write them down, stick them in the cup.
Well,
yeah.
I can't bring you the Rocky Mountains in a cup either, but that doesn't make them not physical.
Well, you could. It'd just be really, really heavy.
You need a lot of cups.
Or you can
A
cut off
lot
a
of
piece
cups.
a rock and have it in
Or
a
you
cup.
Yeah.
could crush them into a neutron star.
Bring the actual laws of logic to me in a cup. You
Yes.
just said they're physical.
Yes. Yes.
How? Like, can you bring me the law of non-contradiction?
Yes, I could write it. Yeah, it's a law. It's a
No,
man-written law.
without writing
Yes.
it down. The actual law itself, not a piece of paper with the words law of
The
non-contradiction.
law is physical.
I would disagree with that, but
And this is what I mean. What the law is describing is not physical. The law is describing reality.
No, but what I'm asking you, we're asking you about the law itself. How can the law
Yes.
itself be physical?
The law is something that is created by a mind and exists in a medium.
yeah, I think it's an abstraction of the physical, for
The
sure.
laws of logic
That's not what we're
describe
asking.
reality.
That's what we abstracted from, and that's what we end up ultimately applying it to in order to understand
Yeah.
reality around us.
It must feel good to you guys to reconstruct our question.
I didn't reconstruct it. Go ahead.
Yes, you
Dave.
We're
did.
just-
We're
we're just
asking you about
answering
the
your
law
questions as
itself. We're
completely
not
as we
asking
can.
you about what they abstract or what they describe. We're asking you about the law itself.
Yes, it can be in a cup, David. Answer questions answered.
How can the law? Okay, bring me the law itself in a cup right now.
All right, I'm not driving down there. I'll go. I can email it to
I
you.
could bring you a glass of water and show you that.
Yeah,
a glass
show us
of
on the
water-
computer. You got a webcam?
I could show you. I could bring you a glass of water and show you that the water is water and that the water is not water.
So now we don't use logic to think, we use water to think.
Well, you asked me to bring it to you in a cup, so you know.
I'm asking you to bring the
I'm
law
trying to be
itself.
accommodating.
All right,
not
the
asking
law.
you- I'm not asking you to bring me what the law is describing. I'm asking you to bring me the law
No,
itself.
I get what your point is. That I agree with you that the law itself is an abstract thought, that it's a
Okay, but I'm talking
concept,
for Fareed.
and that it's
Fareed is
not
saying the law is
physical.
physical.
I disagree. I think the law itself is physical.
Yeah, he's.
How is the law itself physical?
It's something we've created. It exists in our minds. It exists in paper. It exists in
Okay.
a medium.
What's it made
Bring
out of?
me the law.
Brain matter, paper. It's digital code.
So
Okay.
is this the
Chalk on a wall.
Wait, so I have a lot of paper here. Is this the laws of logic, or is this?
If you write them on there, yes.
So anything like if I was to write the laws of logic on my laptop, all of a sudden my laptop turns into the laws of logic.
No,
No,
you would have.
It has them,
It would have them.
and you have it in physical form. You have it in your cup, as you asked.
Wow. No, okay. Let me ask you-
Without
the
minds,
laws
there
of
would be no
logic
laws of
Do the laws of
anything.
logic change or are they absolute? Do they change or are they absolute?
They describe reality.
Do they change?
No,
No.
They don't change.
they describe. Well, and so that as far as reality would change, they always match reality. So
Yeah.
if reality changes, then yes, they would change
Can you
accordingly.
expand on that.
The laws of logic describe reality. If the rules of reality changed, the rules of logic would change.
I can't disagree with that.
Can you please? You're speaking in very vague terms.
Yes,
No, it's
I'm
pretty-
describing something that probably is impossible.
And
you're
that's
actually-
actually a pretty
You're
bold
essentially-
statement.
So what you're
but yeah, I
saying,
can't
you're
disagree
essentially
with that.
saying no, it's not. The laws of logic do not change. Then that's all I'm asking.
No,
As
they
far as
describe
we know.
reality. They always describe reality. Yes.
And reality is
So
pretty
law-
consistent as
So
best
the
we
laws of
can
logic
tell.
are absolutes.
Well, if you mean absolute to be that they never change, then QED, dude.
Okay. Are they universal?
As far as, you know, the universe that we've seen, yeah, the universe is, again, pretty consistent. And we've checked.
Okay. Are they transcendental?
What does that mean?
Yeah, that's a weird one.
Do they transcend
Reality?
Do they transcend like human beings?
No, they might.
Do they
if
transcend human beings? Yes, because, you know, they apply to the fucking universe.
Yeah, Klingons
Okay.
could have thought them
So-
up. Yes.
So GreyKnight just conceded atheism.
All right. So according to your worldview, how do you account for universal, transcendental, objective, absolute laws of logic?
I didn't say they were transcendental.
GreyKnight did.
GreyKnight did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
How did I say that they were transcendental? That,
Yes, you
that
did.
they exist beyond humans? Is that what you mean by transcendental?
Yes.
That doesn't mean.
No, I'm
That
asking.
What I'm
according to
saying-
your worldview, how
Can
do
I
you
clarify
account
that?
for universal, transcendental, objective, and absolute laws of logic?
Can I clarify the transcendental?
Because they
point?
apply to the universe. We've already covered this. QED.
The transcendental point is that if there are other minds in the universe, it's conceivable that they would have thought up similar laws.
Yes.
Or
They would be
probably
self-evident
identical
to
laws.
any other mind that's like ours, that's observing the universe.
So the fact that we're humans isn't especially special to anything. It's just we're an example of something that has created laws.
I
of
never
logic.
said that. I said that they're beyond humans. That's what I said.
They're
I
beyond
knew that.
humans, but they're not beyond minds, in a sense.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Meaning, okay, without the laws of gravity, gravity would still apply.
Right.
No, I agree. So,
All right.
so
Without the
no one
laws of logic
no,
describing the universe would still exist.
So Sir Isaac Newton never came up with the laws of logic, or the phrase "the laws of logic." The gravity was like or not. Now, see, I got all mixed up. If Sir Isaac Newton never came up with the law of gravity, like that phrase. The gravity would still exist.
Correct.
Still be around.
Yeah, we
Right. And Newton was wrong, but go ahead.
Wasn't
Well,
wrong,
so
it just wasn't complete.
Yeah.
Well, he was. His theory breaks down at
Right.
certain levels.
Yes.
Okay, so again, how do you account for universal, transcendental, objective, and absolute?
Oh,
Laws
because
of logic.
reality exists.
How do you know reality exists?
Could reality not exist? Could existence not exist?
you're saying it's axiomatic that we have to exist.
How do you
Yes,
know it's
of course.
axiomatic? How do you
Because
know it's
existence does
axiomatic?
exist.
How do you
Existence
know
does
that?
exist.
Because
How
existence
do you
can't
know?
not
How do
exist.
you know? How do you know that existence exists?
Because existence can't not exist.
the possibility of the
Existence
contrary.
can't be not existence, David.
Okay, and
Okay,
how do you? What?
Because non-existence can't exist.
By the very definition, you're right, GreyKnight, you're right. By the very definition, existence, something like you can't say that something that exists does not exist. What we're saying is,
Whoa, he just said you're right, GreyKnight.
It's a first time for everything.
Oh my God.
no, something that like this book exists, and I can't say that it does not exist because it does exist. We're trying to figure out what your grounds for existence
Yeah,
are.
what's your grounds for that? How do you know that you exist?
You just told me what my grounds for that are, and that's perfect.
Here, I can
No.
give you my.
You very eloquently
We're
said.
not
Thank
denying the fact that we exist. We're saying that you can't
Yes.
justify saying that.
All
we
right.
How do
I'll
you
justify
know?
it. I'll justify it.
How
Want
do
me
you
to justify
know?
it?
How do you know?
Can I justify it for you?
I'm asking you to.
All right. I'm going to justify it. Don't interrupt me. The impossibility of the contrary.
And how do you know it's impossible?
Because we exist.
And how do you know you exist?
Because I exist.
How do you know that?
Because of the impossibility of the contrary.
So, do you not see how you're just going around in a circle right now?
Well,
In a
you're
sense,
trying
it's
to break
circular.
down a tautology.
You're saying that
extremely
you exist
frustrating because
of the
it's a
impossibility.
tautology.
You're not explaining how you're
All right.
not justifying how it's
All right.
impossible that you.
How do you know you're not David?
Can I think and reason and not exist at the same time?
Okay,
Or
so
rather,
now you're
how do you
using
know
the
that you're
I
not
think, therefore
David?
I am arguments.
Big part of
Right.
resurrection.
Can I do those three things and not exist?
Okay, so pretty much you're saying I think, therefore I am. And that right there is a circular argument.
Because you can think and not exist? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm saying it's a circular argument. The conclusion is restating the premise.
Because it's possible that I could think and not exist? Is that how it's
No,
flawed?
what you're saying is I exist because I'm thinking, but I'm thinking because I exist.
Because if I think, I have to exist.
Okay, but it's a circular argument.
So you're saying it's wrong. I could be wrong about that.
Farid, do you concede with me now that all arguments are circular?
No.
You just exposed that it was circular.
You don't understand what a tautology
I
is,
think,
David.
therefore,
Are you willing
I think,
to concede
therefore
that?
I am is a circular argument. You're saying I think, I exist because I think, and I think because I exist.
I mean, if you really wanted to get fancy, you could just stop with, like, I. That's it. I mean, the second you say I, you exist.
It's still a circular argument.
No,
David,
it's
is
not. There's a difference between a tautology and a circular argument. A circular argument is A because of B and B because of A.
Which is exactly.
That's exactly what you just said. Oh my God.
No, this is A.
David.
This is A because of A. That's the
David.
tautology. That's the difference. That's the formal logical difference, David. Take a class, for
David,
fuck's
is
sake.
David, is it possible I don't exist?
You're saying I think, therefore I am, which is you're saying I think, like you're saying I exist because I think, and I think because I exist. So that is saying A is B because B is A.
So is it possible I don't exist, David?
We're not saying
We're not
that.
saying that.
Yes, you are. You're saying I can't know that.
I'm saying you're
Because
using
if I couldn't know that, that means it's possible.
I'm saying you can't know that. Did I ever once say you can't know that? I'm just asking
Yes,
you
several times.
how you know
said-
that.
Let me ask you.
How would you like me to justify that for you?
According to your worldview, you can't
How would you like me to justify it for you?
Would you ever?
I'm pointing out how, according to your worldview, you can't.
How would you like, David? How would you like us to justify it for you?
As
You
a-
can't
Apparently, what we're doing
justify
is
it.
we can't.
With your worldview, you can't justify
Let me
it.
ask you a question.
All right, how can you?
How can I? Because I was created in God's image.
Yeah,
All right, so that's a circular argument.
If you were,
All arguments are circular.
Oh, so I'm invalid, but you can use circular and I can't. That's what your argument is?
No, what
That's
Special pleading?
I'm telling
Oh,
you,
good timing.
what I'm telling you, what I'm telling you is,
Special pleading?
all arguments are circular, but the
Correct.
reason my worldview is more accurate because it better comports with reality than
How
yours.
does it better comport with
Your
reality?
worldview is reduced to absurdity
How is yours better comport with reality?
because my worldview can account for things such as existence, morality, ethics, logic. Your worldview cannot account for any of those.
Because you claim mine is circular, and then you say yours has exact same flaw. How is yours better than mine?
Yeah, yours isn't even parsimonious. You're saying I think, therefore I am because God told me so.
You're adding an extra step. Mine
No,
is simpler.
You have an extra assumption.
There's only two possibilities.
Occam's razor.
Either we know everything with absolute certainty, everything there is to know with absolute certainty, or there's someone that knows everything with absolute certainty who cannot lie, reveal things to us.
That's not a dichotomy. Try again.
That is.
We've already gone over what a dichotomy is.
Yes.
Either we can know everything or we cannot.
Or a logical third option.
Yeah.
No.
There is no logical
There's
third
no
option.
third option.
Now you're setting up a false dichotomy.
No. That's true dichotomy.
Yes. You're setting up a false dichotomy.
No, those
No.
are the only. There is no third option.
Your premise
Yes.
and your conclusion describe two separate things.
The third option
they're not a
is there's
dichotomy.
someone that knows everything. That has
Either
infinite
you know
knowledge who
everything
cannot lie.
or you don't know everything. You're saying that.
Or there's
No,
someone
no,
else
no,
who
no,
knows
I'll
everything.
explain
That
that
can
so that
reveal
even
things to
you
us.
can understand it, David. What you're saying is that you
No,
don't
but
know
that's-
everything.
that's irrelevant
And in
to the
addition
question.
to that, God told you that He's out there, but you still don't know everything. So
No, we don't know
it's a
everything,
true
but God
dichotomy.
does.
That's irrelevant because you still don't know everything. You're in the latter case. Either you know everything or you don't, and you don't.
Wait.
There is no third option.
The third option is God.
Yeah.
No, there is not, because you still
everything.
don't know everything.
No.
You belong to the
Now
second
Now
one.
you
You
guys are
have
setting
affirmed
up a
the
false
dichotomy.
This is
No,
just
you have
like
affirmed
the
dichotomy,
conversation
David.
me and Fareed had
You
about the Euthyphro dilemma. And I suppose how the
affirmed
Euthyphro
the
dilemma was a
dichotomy.
false dichotomy.
You're verifying it in your own words. You're conceding that you don't know everything, and that therefore you belong to the latter of the two cases. And for some non sequitur reason, you feel like adding the God told you something. And who gives a fuck? Because you actually belong to the group that doesn't know.
You're setting up a false dichotomy, just like the Euthyphro dilemma.
You can say false dichotomy as often as you like, but that doesn't make it so.
And you could say that it's not so as often as you like, and that does not make it not so.
Then I leave it to the audience.
But you don't understand what a dichotomy is, David.
Yes, I like. Do you understand what a dichotomy is?
Yes, it's something or it's negation.
A or not A?
Yes.
Yes. You haven't presented a dichotomy.
And you've agreed that you're not A.
You presented two unique statements.
12
You're
minus
saying
6
not
plus.
A, but also B. Like, who gives a fuck about B? No one's asking about B.
12 minus 6 cloud, yes or no?
12 minus 6 cloud?
Yes or no?
Purple.
You guys just gave us a question just like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Well, you have your answer. Purple.
That's not the
Obviously.
answer. So,
No, well, then you just haven't heard.
The answer is 42. 42.
A little Douglas Adams for me?
That's right.
now, have you guys seen Friday Night Cranks?
No.
It's a prank call show on Friday nights. Like that's actually where I got that from.
Yeah, 7 o'clock p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. FridayNightCranks.com.
Yeah, Jared, he's like the best prank caller. Well, him and his cousin.
So here, we're pimping out your channel, Jared. FridayNightCranks.com. 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Shout-outs to Jerry. Shout-outs to
Yeah, exactly.
Rest in peace, Mr. Adams.
And I'm drinking smart water.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about the Euthyphro dilemma? I kind of do, actually.
I guess. You're going to lose.
Like, you want to talk about how it's a false dilemma?
Go ahead.
All you.
Well, it's a false dilemma because it's like
Oh.
it says either God, like it says it's something good because God says it's good.
Well, look, let me ask you a question for you guys real quick. Just about the last topic we were talking about. A question just popped into my mind. Okay, when there's option A and option B, and then option C, right? A police officer is talking to a man. He either did it, didn't do it, or was what?
The dichotomy isn't really A or B. It's A or not A.
Well, that's the dichotomy. Either he did do it or not.
Or
Or he was framed.
Either the police officer or did not.
Yeah.
Or he was framed.
Yeah. That means he didn't do it, genius. Yeah, he didn't do it. He's framed.
Yes.
Nice try. All right, you can go ahead with Euthyphro now.
Or maybe the option is we don't know for sure if he did or didn't. So
Yeah.
the option is
I don't know.
He didn't do it, or I don't know. That's a logical option, don't you think?
No, he would still either. No.
Whether you know
he
or
still would
not.
have done it or not.
Yeah, whether you know it or not is irrelevant. That's non sequitur.
Suppose he's the only one that does know, and it's an investigation. In other words, what?
You're digging yourself in a
Maybe he
deeper
did it,
hole,
and I had
Joe.
Cheerios for
No,
breakfast
no.
this morning.
Okay, he either did it, he didn't do it, or we don't know.
Whether you don't know or
Yeah,
not.
but if we don't know, he still did it or he didn't. What's your
Right.
point?
Okay. By saying we don't know, it's not making famous whether he did or didn't. I get what you're trying to do here.
It doesn't change the fact that he either did it or not, does it?
Maybe,
You're
maybe
talking
he didn't
about-
do it, and I happen to be a ghost pirate. You know,
You guys must-
You
doesn't matter.
guys don't need to argue everything.
Context 101 of what I'm saying.
Right?
I get it. I am
That's not what he's
200
saying.
steps above you.
Can you please actually listen to what he's saying and not?
I heard it. Go ahead. It's pointless, but go ahead.
What I'm saying is, okay, yes, it doesn't change the fact of whether he actually did it or not. But from our perception, could you say police officers talking to that person, they did it, or they didn't do it, or they were a witness to it, or I don't know.
But I think what you're getting
you're
at
asking us five other questions now.
I think what you're getting at is that there's another dichotomy, whether you know it or not.
He asked you one question.
No, and then he said, or this, or that, or that, or that.
But they're all part of the same question.
No, they're not. The question is, he did it or not.
There is an implied second question. If I may, David, there is an implied second question.
You understand how to contextualize things?
Yes.
Well, you guys are doing a really horrible job.
Thank you.
At contextualizing.
Why are you copying my words? Go ahead.
Like,
I think the implied second question is whether someone knows something or they do not. And again,
he only asked one question.
But your answer implies a second question. I mean, there is a question on the table as to whether or not an event occurred or it didn't. And then there's another question that you're implying as to whether you know about that event or you do not.
That's just the third option.
No, that's a separate dichotomy.
No, either you know something or you don't know something.
That's correct.
Either something happened, either something happened, or you don't know something happened, or you don't know either.
You're asking multiple questions, David.
No, that's
either
one
you
thing.
know something or you don't know.
Either something happened or it didn't, or you don't know.
No, something happened or it didn't. Whether or not you know about it is a separate issue.
Okay. We're not talking about the actual event itself. We're just talking.
But you are. When you're saying whether the event happened or it didn't, you are literally talking about the event.
No, we're talking about how we could perceive the police officer talking to the person.
Like he's having an investigation.
Okay.
Like either according to the investigation, either didn't happen, it did happen, or he doesn't know.
Do you know what either or means? Either or, two options. You have three options.
Do you know what "and" means?
Okay, well, let's not drop the grammar hammer here. I mean, I get what you're saying, that the police officer knows, that either the police officer reports that the person did it, he reports the person did not do it, or he reports that his investigation was inconclusive, effectively, is what you're saying. Okay,
let me ask you a different question that has to do with the dichotomy thing. All birds either fly or they don't.
Yeah, I would say that's a dichotomy, yes. All birds fly or they do not.
No, that's a false dichotomy.
How is that a false dichotomy?
Penguins don't fly and they're still birds.
No, it's a true dichotomy. They all do not.
No, I just said all birds.
Right, so all birds don't fly.
Don't.
Fucking Christ. It's so easy. Or, yeah, they don't.
Yeah, either
all birds do not fly.
Oh my gosh. That's not what I'm saying. I didn't say all birds do not fly.
Right, all birds
do not fly. No,
you
would say either all birds fly or all birds do not fly.
No, what I'm essentially saying is, like, let me rephrase that because maybe I wasn't clear enough.
Yeah.
And that would be a false dichotomy.
Actually, logically, here's the problem with taking like symbolic logic and trying to break it down into language. The correct way to
break it down.
The formal way to actually say that would be not
you guys can understand. Either all birds fly or they're not real birds.
That's a dichotomy. It's either all birds fly or they do not.
Yeah, that's word salad.
Penguins aren't real birds?
The correct way to say what you were trying to get at first is either all birds fly or not all birds fly.
That's exactly what I just said.
What he just
Yes,
exactly
not all birds fly.
That's exactly what I just said.
But that's a correct dichotomy, Dave.
What I'm saying is
either all birds fly
either
or
all
not
birds fly or they're not real birds.
That's not a dichotomy.
That's word salad.
Yeah, because penguins are real birds and they don't fly.
Here, David, I'll tell you what you're trying to say.
False dichotomy.
Here, I'll word it for you. Either all birds fly or all birds do not fly. So either they all fly or they all don't. That's not a dichotomy.
What I'm saying is either all, like I'm giving you an example of a false dichotomy. Either all birds fly or they're not real birds.
What's your point?
Or I was giving you an example of a false dichotomy, pointing that out.
I like true or false, but you can use that one too.
Or also, like the Euthyphro dilemma. Like we got.
Yeah, let's get into that.
Yeah.
You guys aren't going to win with these examples. I'm just going to
The
warn you.
Euthyphro dilemma. Like, you want to state it for everybody?
Either things are moral because they're dictated by gods, or gods follow a morality that's outside of them.
Yeah, and I say the reason why it's a false dichotomy is because there's a logical third option that they're forgetting, and the logical third option is morality comes from God's nature.
Well, here I'll present it as a better dichotomy. Either morality is dictated by gods, or it is not.
Oh, now you're rephrasing it.
Yes, to make it simpler.
No, like we're going with the original, how it was originally phrased.
I think that would be consistent with the original phrasing. Either morality is dictated by God or it isn't.
And God follows it.
It's dictated to God.
God doesn't follow it because God is morality.
Neither of those are the original.
But that means that he doesn't dictate it by will.
That's like saying God dictate God.
Did God dictate God? I mean, since we're talking about imaginary things, I mean, what's the answer here?
God's nature is his own nature.
All right.
But did he dictate that? Does he have
that's
self-determination?
An question.
It's an honest question.
No,
Does God have
question.
Does God have self-determination? That's an asinine question.
Does
really.
God dictate
You're going to convert people to your faith by saying that question is
does God
ridiculous and doesn't deserve to be answered?
I can't convert anybody to my faith.
I would say not, David.
My faith is not my faith.
What?
Yeah, my faith is not my faith.
Okay.
Faith is
it doesn't originate from us.
Yeah.
If God is morality, David,
to be a Christian.
Well, then you're not going to convert anybody to your God's faith either.
Who said anything about me converting anyone?
I did.
He's a Calvinist.
Well, that's not. Well, then you obviously have a straw man built up in your head about what I'm doing. I'm not trying to convert.
We're getting off the topic, David. So if God is morality, we're left with the same dichotomy. Either that morality that
refutes the dichotomy. It shows how it's a false dichotomy.
Can I finish my sentence?
Go ahead.
So either God is morality, and that morality that is encompassed by God was dictated by him or not. We're still left with that dichotomy.
Yeah, you're not understanding nature. You know, someone's nature. A fish does not dictate that it's a fish. It just is a fish.
A fish does not dictate that it's a fish.
It's just a fish. That's its nature.
So the answer would be God does not dictate morality. It's just his nature.
That's his nature.
All right, he doesn't dictate it. The dichotomy is solved.
The dichotomy, it's like it was refuted. It's a false dichotomy.
It was resolved.
It's a false dichotomy. No, it's a false dichotomy.
We just resolved it. Okay,
yeah, it was refuted. It was refuted.
No, it wasn't.
False dichotomy.
No.
It sounds like you did kind of resolve the question there. You keep on saying false dichotomy or straw man or ad populum or any of these other fallacies you looked up before the debate, but that doesn't mean that they apply there.
In order to refute a false dichotomy, all you have to do is posit a logical third option.
Yes, it has to be a logical third option.
And I posited a logical third option. Therefore,
no, you did not.
Yes, I did.
It's the same thing as whether the guy did it or whether the guy didn't do it. And then
David,
you said, well, maybe nobody knows that he did it. Like, that doesn't have anything to do with whether he did it or not. Like, what you're saying is that God didn't have determination over the nature of morality.
You guys apparently do not understand what a fucking nature is.
You can say that all you'd like, but I think that it's very clear that we do understand what nature is.
I think it's very clear that you don't.
That we understand logic, and we understand what dichotomies are as well.
Does God dictate God? That's an asinine question.
Right, he did author morality. That's what you said.
Hey, Fareed, do you dictate yourself?
I think that's a valid... I mean, since we're talking about the divine here, I think that, anything's fucking fair game, guy. I mean, I think it's fair for me to ask whether God had a hand in making...
Oh, so it's fair to ask asinine questions.
I mean, it's a fair question for me to ask you. Do you have some say in who you are or what you're going to be?
Again, I'm not God.
Well, I'm not asking God. I'm asking you.
And
Do you have
dictate
self-determination?
I can't dictate my
You,
nature.
David Sarche,
Yes, I cannot dictate my nature. I'm a human being.
You can't dictate what you are and what you're going to be.
I cannot dictate my nature. I'm a human being.
Why are you at college then? What are you trying to accomplish there if you have...
College has nothing to do with my fucking nature. I just said I cannot dictate my nature.
You can't determine who you're going... Well, I'm...
That's it. I'm going to drop more F-bombs, damn it.
Okay, yeah, I mean, maybe talk this over with what Joe thinks, because I heard he was studying psychology, and I think that most psychologists would agree that we do have some hand in what our nature actually is.
No,
I mean, otherwise we wouldn't really try to fix anybody through psychology, would we?
But the thing about it is that most I wouldn't approach it from the way that most people do, because most psychology is a secular psychology.
Yeah, and psychology actually says that your personality and who you are is determined within the first 5 years of your life.
Yeah, that's not at all correct.
Yes, from the ages of 1 to 5, your
exactly.
personality and who you are is already determined. That's why the first 5 years are the most fragile years of your life.
We could save this for a future debate, because I don't want to get mired in psychology, but if that's what you think, I'd really like to address that down the road.
I could pull out my psychology textbook.
Oh, I could pull out a few of my own, David.
Yeah.
And papers.
And
journals.
There are some
I don't think that I will take this up at another time if you'd like, because I don't want to, we are already running long, but no, that's simply not the case.
Brought up psychology.
What I'm going to say is I don't really think psychology is a real science. So
yeah.
Anyway,
I was going to say there are some studies. There are some.
This is actually a topic me and Joe are comfortable with, because I'm a social work major, he's a psychology major, so we could talk about psychology.
But
GreyKnight wants to backpedal now.
There are some
because
studies,
he's a heretic.
There are some studies that will suggest up to 7 years, but there's nothing that we know that goes farther than that.
And I'm sorry I'm talking crap about psychology.
Anything about recovery, about anything like that? People who go through coping?
Jeannie's a perfect example. Jeannie's a perfect example. She learned everything she was going to know by the age of 7. She was locked in a closet for the first 14 years of her life. That girl is going to remain in the infancy state for the rest of her life because she was locked up for that long and not taught anything. She's a perfect example for right now.
But when I was 5, I believed in silly things like Santa Claus and gods, and now I don't.
Well, yeah, you should take some more classes in lifestyle or lifetime development.
GreyKnight, I think you should take some classes. I think you need to take some psychology classes before you talk about psychology.
Your psychology class at high school.
I think you should earn your degree first. If you want to, I think you should earn your degree before you really, take me on in this area.
Well, that's why you're backpedaling right now.
Yes, clearly I am backpedaling.
Well,
yeah,
why don't you say? Joe just repeated.
Do you really think that development actually ends at 7? You have a psychology book that says that? Could you please give me the name and the publisher of this book? I'd really like to check that myself.
No one said anything about development.
I've got a few of them. Oh. They're titled Exploring Psychology 7th and 8th editions by, what's his name? Just look it up. It's got a red cover and a blue cover. There's 2 different editions. The 7th and 8th
Red Comfort?
No, red cover and blue cover.
Oh, blue cover. Sorry.
Yeah, it's Exploring Psychology 7th and Exploring Psychology 8th edition. Something,
No. Okay, I got... Psychology 10th edition by David G. Myers.
That was the same guy for the 7th and 8th edition, too.
This is the newest one, the 10th edition.
Can I make a point on this, seeing that I'm not the psychology fan? I'm more into neuroscience, and yes, they're right to a degree. There are certain parts of the brain that develop up to a certain age, such as language skills, certain things that if they are not developed to a certain point at a certain age, you pretty much lose that forever. If you're not exposed to language for a significant amount of time, you will never have the same capacity for language that a normal person would have.
Yes, that's certainly true. And that's, I
Grey
think,
Knight.
what he was talking about in the case of some named
Grey Knight,
feral child. The problem with feral child studies is that, you know, they weren't really studies because they're just generally anecdotal stories told afterwards by people who had contact with the child or something like that.
And you're right. I mean,
No, I agree with that.
from a moral standpoint, we can't like
that.
put a bunch of kids in a closet for 20 years for a study because
No, but we are aware of the fact that, you know, there are certain centers of the brain that have to be developed before there's. It's late. I'm terrible with vocabulary right now. They don't get trimmed back during the fundamental stages of cognitive development. That's certainly true. If you don't introduce children to symbolic thinking or language, they're not going to be able to perform in the same cognitive tasks that you and I are. That is a fact.
Grey Knight.
Sure.
For another text for you to check out, I'm going to recommend you my social work textbook too, right here. I don't know if you can see that, but it says
sure, I'll check it out later.
And Social Environment. It's the 5th edition by
I'd like to hear the quote where they say that you stop developing at 7.
Just check it out. Like, I can't, I mean...
You could read me from the page. Could you point to the page? Could you read the passage? Because that's just bullshit, man.
You want me to, like...
People change throughout their lives. Any psychologist who's practicing will tell you this. That's the whole fucking point.
I'm not denying that.
Oh, good.
I never once said that.
Hey, Grey, do me a favor in the chat.
Regardless, when let's go back to whether or not you're.
Yeah, what's our point here? Let's talk about science, not psychology.
Yeah, if you're saying that you're not denying that people develop throughout their whole lives, then why are you saying that people don't have a hand in determining their nature? And if we have a hand in determining our nature, then why the fuck doesn't God? That's the Euthyphro dilemma, just to bring it back around. I mean, clearly we're better than God because at least I can determine what I'm going to do with myself. And God can't even do that. So there you go. Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Addicts can stop being addicts.
Can you be
People who
anything
aren't can
other than a
start.
human being? Can you be anything other than a human being?
How I feel about other people. Yeah, some people.
You cannot be anything other than a human being.
Have you ever? I'm going to look up this case, but I'm sure you've heard about this guy in a psychology class that he ended up being in some sort of terrible, like railroad construction accident, like some charge went off and like ended up putting a rail through his brain, and it completely changed who he was as a person. So you're saying that nothing changed his nature? But he was still a human fucking being.
What?
So what? Your nature is then you're saying nature is in fact immutable because we're all human fucking beings. So how
I'm saying your nature is a human being. You cannot change your nature of a human being.
Okay. Then I
we
guess
can't stop being humans.
Definition.
What's your point?
Yeah, if that's your definition of what nature means, then yeah, I guess.
Where is this going? Where is this going?
You've shifted the goalposts as far as you want.
No, that's what I've been saying this entire time.
No, you're shifting the goalposts in the definition of what nature means.
Now you're strawmanning me. You're being intellectually dishonest.
Yes, you are. Because clearly we were using two different meanings of nature. And now you're saying, well, nature means just that you're a human being.
Which case is he talking about psychology? He's talking about the guy that worked on the railroad?
Yes, the guy that had an accident, had a brain damage.
Yeah, and his nature was clearly immutable.
The only thing changed was his personality.
And you know why that happened?
And that has nothing to do with his nature, I guess, once we define nature to be.
He's a human being.
In the prefrontal cortex, that is a part of your anger, that is a part of your brain that contains the content.
Fine, I'll concede to your utterly pointless and useless definition of nature. That you're a human being.
I'm saying is the prefrontal cortex is
that's my golf clap, gentlemen.
He's overtalk you too. The prefrontal cortex.
GreyKnight's good at that.
The prefrontal cortex is the part that controls your inhibitors, which is
where is this going, guys? What is the point of this?
You guys brought it up.
I didn't bring up psychology. I don't like it.
He brought it up. The intellectually dishonest guy right next to you on the screen brought it up.
I like him.
I like you too, Fareed.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
He brought up that's about natures. That's all he said about natures. And I said you cannot change your nature.
Okay, what's your point?
Maybe he misunderstood what I meant by nature.
Fine. You meant being a human being. Great. Okay. You can't stop being a human. All right. Yeah. I'll concede that. What's your point?
And so, I mean, we got on that because we were talking about the Euthyphro dilemma.
But we can't change our morality. Like we can change what we decide is moral behavior. We can change, what we
No,
think is just.
morality. We could change how we perceive morality, but morality itself is absolute. Morality does not change. Our perceptions of morality change.
David, you're really good at these just so statements, but you never justify them.
I never made any just so statement.
Yeah, you said our nature's from God. That's just so.
Do you disagree that our perceptions of morality change?
Yeah.
Of course.
Our perceptions of reality don't change?
I thought you said morality.
No, morality. No, I said, do you disagree that our perceptions of morality change?
Yes.
So you think that our perceptions of morality don't change?
Could you stop asking questions in the negative?
No,
I just said I think they change. Yes, I think our perceptions change as we learn more. Of course.
Okay, you just.
Don't change. I never said don't. I said yes, they change. Go ahead.
Yeah, my question to you was, do you disagree that our perceptions
Stop
of
asking
morality
questions in
change?
the negative.
And
Stop
you said
asking.
yes, you
Stop
do disagree,
playing around
which would
and asking
mean
questions in the
that
negative.
you think that our perceptions don't change.
I want you to stop asking
No,
questions.
I
in the
said
negative.
okay.
David, right now you don't dictate what I say. So.
David,
okay.
I don't know if we're misunderstanding each other. I'm not trying to fuck around. I'm trying to be clear.
I know you're not.
So I'm going to answer the question, and you can move on, and not try to rephrase what you think I said. I'm going to tell you what I think. I think our perceptions of morality do change. Our perceptions change.
Okay.
Now go forward.
That's pretty much what I was asking you.
All right, now go forward. Now move on with your argument.
Like, I was just saying, like I said, that morality does not change, but our perceptions do.
Okay,
our
what's your point?
perception of morality changes.
Okay.
Do you understand the difference in what I'm saying there?
You're coming from a perspective that there is an absolute morality.
There is an absolute morality.
Well, the thing is, your perceptions can change in that you apply your morality to agents, and you might recognize an agent.
No, you guys already conceded that there's at least one absolute morality.
No, I didn't.
I asked you, is it
absolute?
absolute?
There's such thing as being having subjective moral absolutes.
No. Okay, we're gonna rewind. I asked you, like, is it absolutely morally wrong to rape babies for fun? And you specifically said, yes, it is. So you agree that there's at least one absolute morality.
No, you're changing absolutely an absolute. Like you're playing fast and loose with the language.
So when will it be okay to rape
completely
babies?
Dishonest.
So when will it be okay to rape babies?
When?
When would it be okay to rape babies?
If the whole planet was going to be blown up.
You said non-human rape babies.
If the planet's going to blow up, everyone's going to die, including the baby, and all life is going to end. And the only way to stop that is, I guess, to rape this baby that's going to otherwise die. I guess I could see that being moral.
Yeah, but if it's just for fun, and we're talking about people here, then that's absolutely wrong.
No. You asked me. Yeah, I asked you, is it absolutely wrong to rape babies?
For fun.
No, you didn't say for fun. You just added for fun.
No, he said for fun. Is it absolutely? Yes. Is it wrong to rape babies for fun? Yes.
Yeah. So you agree that there's at least one absolute morality there. That it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong.
For me, that's a moral absolute.
No. When we said it's wrong, we never said it was absolute. We said it was wrong from our perspective.
No,
GreyKnight said it's after the fact.
Absolute. No, GreyKnight said it's absolute wrong.
But I think he meant from his perspective.
Yeah, it's to me, my subjective opinion is that it's absolutely wrong to rape babies for fun.
I think you're misunderstanding what I mean by absolute. Then what I'm saying is it absolute? When I say absolute, I'm saying is it wrong for all people at all times in all places?
For all people at all times in all places, it is morally wrong to rape babies solely for fun.
I'd say some people may think it's right, and that's why they rape them.
Okay, so GreyKnight, you concede that there's at least one absolute morality then.
I would judge those people to always be wrong. If they were raping babies in any time period, under any circumstances, on any world that humanity may eventually go to, if they're just raping babies for fun, that's wrong. I'm going to stand on that.
What's
I'm going to make that bold statement. I'm going to draw that line in the sand.
Justify that and tell us why you think it's wrong.
Because it's removing the agency of that baby.
You're
you're creating a society that will be objectively a failure. It will be unstable. You're degrading what it means.
Why is that wrong? Why would that be
person
wrong?
in that civilization? Well, because we're people. Like, it would be wrong to do it to you. It would be wrong.
Then why would that
to
be wrong?
do it to me. Well, would you like it?
Hey, David, can I give you a...
What if you were that baby, David?
Why would that be wrong?
I'm telling you why, David.
Why would it be wrong?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Why would it be wrong?
If you were that baby, would you like it?
I'm asking you. How can you justify that it's wrong?
I'm answering you.
Are you asking us to base morality on what we find offensive to us or what's offensive to humans in general?
You could answer either way, and I would like, if you feel so loquacious, tell me both.
If morality is just dictated what I find offensive to myself, well, Fareed, that flag behind you, I find that offensive, so that's wrong for you to have that flag.
And Fareed's entitled to completely disagree.
All right, since we've been talking about raping babies so long, let's say, all right, you love raping babies for fun. Let's say that's what you like to do. And let's say that the cure for cancer somehow becomes raping babies. Now, would it be wrong to rape this baby for fun to cure them of cancer versus cutting them open and causing other suffering?
Wait, say that again,
well,
sorry.
Then you wouldn't be raping them just for fun. You'd be raping them to cure cancer.
Well, and for fun. Let's say let's get off on that, too.
See, well, I thought that we were saying it's solely for fun.
So, as long as it's not just for fun.
If it's for fun and profit, then I don't know.
What I'm saying, and I'm giving you a ridiculous example because we're discussing raping babies, which is pretty fucking ridiculous. But yes, potentially. Yeah, if it cures cancer and you like it, I guess it's okay. You frozen, David? I mean, a surgeon might get off on cutting people open for some sadistical reason, aside from just curing them and helping them, but if they do it in a productive way, I guess it could be moral.
Yeah. As long as it's not, to put it simply, hurting other people.
I mean, I don't know how else to address raping baby arguments.
Well, in the pause, if you've never subscribed to this guy's channel, his name is Suicide for Celluloid, and he has actually taken on, not Sci-10 directly in a debate, but he has taken on, I think his name's Justin Seegers, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And he's been on the Bible Thumping Wingnut show a couple of times. He has a lot of responses to presuppositional apologetics. He's a philosopher, and I think he's pretty smart, and his name's Suicide for Celluloid. And if you're within the sound of my voice, you should subscribe to this guy because he's great.
Yeah, and I think I've seen that one. I think I've seen all the Bible and Thumping Wingnut shows with Cy.
Yeah, well, it wasn't Cy. It was
like Justin Seegers.
I think you guys are purposely kicking this off.
Do you really think that, David?
No, I was joking.
We had to make a statement to get into the conversation here.
Your damn computer knocked yourself off 8
times. Look at that smile. You know you can't trust him.
Fareed just said that raping babies productively is moral.
You might have missed this when you left, but I was being kind of being facetious in that this is such a ridiculous argument to talk about raping a baby, but I gave the example of a person who is a surgeon may like cutting into people. They might like helping people, but there also might be a sadistic side to them that kind of enjoys that weird kind of bloody gore. Now, it's not necessarily completely wrong that they're a surgeon and they might kind of get off on the cutting people open.
No, I mean, I wouldn't say that.
I mean, they found a productive way to let that out. And like I said, if somehow raping a baby was a cure for cancer and you didn't do it other than as the cure, that's a potential of raping a baby. for fun, and it would be moral. Now, this is ridiculous because why
But
would anyone rape a baby?
you would think that if we've somehow figured out that raping babies were a cure for cancer, all of a sudden that would magically make raping babies moral.
That would be
As long as it was for that purpose.
Yeah,
Dude, I think
would you say that it's immoral to...
Wow.
Oh, I'm going to so get cut out of
Yeah.
context for this bullshit.
You just,
Yeah, really.
you just said that.
Dude,
I hope that anybody out there that has kids will not ever
Oh,
make
shut
raping
up.
babies
Don't use size argument.
hey,
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
How could you even pretend that
You totally ignored my whole point and how I
And you're
said...
just,
No,
you're
you
just
said
parroting his
that
arguments.
if we somehow found out that raping babies could cure cancer and someone raped babies purely to cure cancer, that would make it moral.
And in that sense, and I also said I'm joking around because I think
I know
this is
you're
ridiculous.
joking. You're not being serious, and I wasn't being serious either about what I said.
I couldn't see a potential way to do that, but
I mean, we're kind of playing games of perfect information. If you're saying that, that the baby would certainly die of cancer, and that raping him would surely remove that threat of his death, then morally the baby should volunteer for that. Like that's a no-brainer. How could you even say that that's not moral? You're saving a life.
You're saving a life at the expense of another life.
So now.
Wait, whoa, what's the other life then?
The baby.
Baby, you're taking. In the beginning of this debate, you said that it's not right to take away someone's agency, and now you're justifying.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, no. Did you actually listen to what I just said? That
You're taking away the baby's agency.
No, the baby would probably would almost certainly volunteer for that if they knew that it was either that or death.
The baby would volunteer to be raped.
It was that or death.
we do surgery on
choice.
children. We do surgery on children who can't understand why they're suffering, why they're going through this situation. But we do it for their own good. And there could be an argument to say that it's wrong to a certain degree to give a small child chemotherapy and all these surgeries because they don't understand what is happening to them and they're suffering. And they very well
Yeah, you're not like surgeries aren't taking away their agency.
Yes, they are in the same sense as raping them is.
Yeah, I on a certain point of view, yeah.
Okay.
You're literally
I've known little kids
have
who've
to
had to go
sign
through
for
cancer,
it.
and it's horrible.
Yeah, that's the whole point of
surgery
being a
is
parent or a
helping
guardian.
the kid.
Like you
But
have.
they don't understand that.
But a surgery is helping a kid. Rape will not help the kid.
Wait,
There's
no,
no
in
justification.
this hypothetical, it is in fact helping the kid. It's saving their life, literally. They're going to die
It's
of
not
cancer
saving
otherwise. We established that that baby would be dead from cancer if not for the baby rape.
By the way, you guys asked me not to posit hypothetical situations, and now you're positive.
That is true. Like, you guys
All
are
right.
going back to what you guys have said.
So, did you want to do your euphophro, or do we still want to figure out how I can justify baby rape?
You can't.
We already refuted the UFO.
If you went back in time and it was Hitler, and you found him as a baby, would it be morally? No.
No,
I
it
think we're
wouldn't.
all on that one.
I wouldn't kill him.
I'm trying, Fareed. I'm trying to, Would you kill him and eat him?
No.
Well, you're an atheist. You're supposed to.
The fuck are you talking? Who said anything about
Atheists eating babies? It's a bad joke. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we do in fact eat babies.
what?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's the Westboro Baptist Church thing.
Who said atheists eat babies?
It's a bad joke. No, you never said it, David. It's okay,
no, I know, I
David.
just
We're not
never-
strong-manning you again, David.
It's a common joke. We're baby
Okay.
eaters because we're that evil.
Well, I would say everybody's evil.
Shout-outs to Aldous Valor, the evilest atheist on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I have to check these
What
chat
do you
rooms.
do?
Anyone
Yeah.
still on here?
I'm actually like I told you this already. I'm probably worse than you are.
Probably. You said I'm evil.
What?
You said we're evil. Don't put me in the same
I
box.
said everybody is evil,
I disagree.
We know.
but you don't have any standard though. So
I have my own. You don't like my standards, so.
And you have kind of a nonsensical standard, David.
yeah, your standard is inconsistent.
You have,
and
you have a
makes,
book which
it makes
contradicts
morality
itself, and
arbitrary.
you take as literally gospel. I mean,
You-
that's it.
You make morality arbitrary.
No, it's not arbitrary. It's subjective. Arbitrary and subjective are two different
But you
things.
make
Arbitrary would just be
morality.
like all.
GreyKnight, earlier in the debate, you even said morality was arbitrary.
I
Now
did
you're
not
just-
at any time
Now
say it
you're
was
contradicting
arbitrary.
yourself.
I never
But-
said it was arbitrary.
In the
I said it was
beginning of the
subjective. In
debate,
fact,
you
when
said
you
is
guys were,
arbitrary.
and several times when you used the word arbitrary, I kept pointing out that arbitrary and subjective are not the same thing. And I agreed that it was subjective, but I did not agree that it was arbitrary.
You did backpedal. You did go back on your word and you started saying that. But there was one instance in the beginning of the debate where you, like I said, you're making morality arbitrary.
Find the
and your
timestamps of me
words were,
saying that.
morality is arbitrary.
No, it's not. It's not really arbitrary. No, it is
We
not.
can rewind the video and go back and watch the beginning.
Go ahead. Find the timestamps. Knock yourself
I'm not recording
out. I
this on a
didn't say that.
VCR, so we can't rewind it.
Well, I mean, after it's on YouTube, we could watch it.
David, you're making morality impossible because you know God doesn't exist.
I know God does exist. That's
No,
why
you don't.
That's the only way morality can be possible.
No,
Well,
you don't know it.
Yeah, you know God doesn't exist, though.
No, you don't know that God exists. You are agnostic.
No, I do know God exists
You
because
don't know that God doesn't
if
exist,
God-
you're not
if-
an atheist.
By the useful meaning of the word know, and meaning that you can demonstrate it to me, you can evidence it to me, I can prove it to you in some fashion. You don't know that God exists.
You cannot prove God does not exist.
I don't have to. You would have to prove. No one can. I can't offer a negative proof.
Oh my
You
God,
have
that's
to
the
do-
dumbest argument ever.
No,
Like,
it's
of course
actually
you could- of course you could prove a negative.
no. You can't really. You
Like,
can
for
prove an
instance, we could
exclusive.
prove
You can
that
prove an
there are no-
exclusive
in the United
case.
States, there are no Muslims in the United States Senate. We could prove that there are no living Tyrannosaurus
Right,
Rex.
because what you're actually doing is asking everybody in the United States Senate what their religion is exhaustively, and you're getting them all to say that they're something which is an exclusive case with being
We're
Muslim.
getting them to say this, not that they're saying
Yeah,
it.
you're like they're saying it of their own accord,
How can you prove there's no Muslims?
and we could prove that there's no living Tyrannosaurus Rexes on the face of the earth. We could prove that there's no Santa Claus, that there's no elves living on the North Pole making toys.
How can you prove that?
Yeah, you really can't. You can check all over, but maybe it's invisible and magical.
Oh my God.
All right, can you prove, David, that I'm not God?
Yeah, because you're not omniscient.
Yeah, yeah. My soul is. Go ahead.
You're not omniscient.
Hey,
You're not omniscient. You're not omnipresent. You're not.
My
you don't
soul
meet
is.
the requirements of God.
Farid,
My soul does. So prove me wrong. I'm using the exact same argument as you.
Farid, what's my
No.
birthday?
I don't know. My soul does.
Then you would know.
No, my soul does.
God.
Or maybe he knows and he just doesn't want to tell you.
You're like exactly. You're not God.
Okay, so then if he just doesn't want to tell me, then Farid just
But
lied.
you can't prove that. You don't know it.
All
You
right.
can't- Prove it to me. Show me that Farid
You're
is
gonna
not.
die.
Joe's birthday's
No,
today.
that means
Your
you're not
birthday's
God.
today, Joe.
What?
It's today. Your birthday's today.
You're wrong, so you're not omniscient.
No, actually, I'm right because my soul told me that's when you were actually born.
That's not when I was born. So.
What? How do you know? You remember it?
Documentation.
Yeah, it's wrong.
The doctor.
Yeah, you lied.
This is getting really, really absurd.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, and so is your argument when you're saying God exists because he exists.
You're saying
We're not saying
you're
it
saying
exists because it
existence exists because it exists.
And that's absurd to
No,
you.
he's saying that existence can't
You're
not
saying
exist.
you're saying
That's
I
why
think
we call it
I
existence.
think therefore I exist, but I exist because I think.
I'll even
You're
go-
making a circular argument that you cannot justify.
I'll even go as far as to tell you that God does not exist.
So, David, are you saying I can't know anything for sure based on my worldview?
Based on your worldview, I'm saying that, like, based on your worldview, I'm saying you cannot account for anything. That's what I'm saying.
But we can. We have.
You have
I-
not accounted for
what
anything.
have we not
How do
yet
you
made an
count?
accounting of?
How do you account for morality? How do you account for logic?
I gave that to you
How do
already.
you account for existence?
Because
Even if-
existence can't not exist.
David, even if we couldn't account for that, how does that get to your God?
The reason as to why is axiomatic.
How does that get to your God even if we cannot account for those things?
I was using tautology. Joe just used
Our
axiomatic.
worldview,
I think he understands why that point is correct.
better comports with reality than yours does.
No, it doesn't. You take the same act.
According to our worldview, we can account for those things. Your worldview cannot account for those things.
No, you think you can.
No, we know we can. We have accounted.
You don't know you can. You haven't established that.
Yeah, we have accounted.
No, you haven't. You think you have. With your math.
No, we have.
You take all the axioms I take. You believe that you exist. You believe there's a reality, and then you add on an extra step, which is God.
Here's the difference. We can account for existence. You guys cannot account for existence.
It doesn't mean your accounting is correct.
Our accounting better accords with reality than yours does. You cannot account for existence, morality. That's why you make contradictory statements like there are no absolutes, yet it's absolutely wrong to rape babies for fun.
If your accounting was true and all these things in fact came from a God, I guess you'd be correct. You haven't established that.
We've established that your worldview is absurd.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, we have.
You haven't demonstrated a God. Where's your God?
We've demonstrated that your worldview is absurd.
No, you haven't.
In order for you to account for things such as logic, ethics, morality, and all of that,
before you hurt yourself, pat yourself on the back there, you haven't proven anything of the sort.
But your worldview hasn't accounted for those things.
We've proven that you have to borrow from our worldview.
No, you haven't proven that.
No, in fact, you're borrowing from our worldview. Everything that you... we could go back to the very first argument where we were talking about slavery at the very top. You know, why don't you condone slavery the same way that you conceded that the Bible condones slavery, that the Bible in fact endorses slavery? You don't. You have a worldview that's based upon the intersubjective morals of the culture that you developed in.
So essentially, we're borrowing from a worldview that can.
You're borrowing from our worldview, correct?
According to GreyKnight, we're borrowing from nothing.
No, you're borrowing from the morality perspective that I just described to you.
You cannot
describe.
You cannot even begin to talk about morality because your worldview cannot.
I've been doing so the whole time, and I submit that to the audience to see for themselves. I've been very cogently describing morality.
Yeah, and you contradict yourself.
In fact, I've caused you to contradict yourself using the slavery example from the Bible. I did it a few debates ago. Fareed has done it.
You said there are no absolutes, yet...
How many times do we have to make you contradict your own morality, to contradict the idea that morality is absolute?
How many times do we have to point out how you're making contradictory statements?
All right, David, your worldview states that...
You're honest enough to admit it.
David, your worldview states you have to be omniscient to know anything.
No. My worldview states that God is omniscient and He reveals.
But how do you know that?
Because God can't lie.
How do you know that?
Because we presuppose God's word as authoritative.
All right, so you haven't established anything. You've established you believe that God exists. That's it.
Can I just go back one step? To how God can't lie.
Hold on
a second.
I'm talking about
if God can't lie, but I can.
Like I said to you before, Fareed,
I can do something that God can't. So how can God possibly be omnipotent?
The only difference between my script and your script is my script is written down. Your script is not written down.
What's your point?
No, our script is very much written down. We
codify and write it down. Your script is written down?
Yes, we pretty regularly write it down. Yes, we update it from time to time.
Where's the Atheist Handbook? I want to see it now.
Well, you live by it as well. It's called the U.S. Code of Law.
That's not an Atheist Handbook. I'm sorry.
The flying spaghetti monster who boiled himself for our sins.
No, GreyKnight just made a claim that there's a handbook written for atheists talking about how to be an atheist. So I want to know.
I'm saying that there's a handbook written for everybody who lives in this nation for how to behave. It's called the law.
Okay, I'm not talking about that. I said every worldview presupposes some script. The only difference between my script and your script is my script is written down, whereas your guys' script is not written down.
David, I feel you've dodged the question, David. How can you know, David, how can you know you have a pathway to truth?
David, your script isn't even written down. You're making it up ad hoc.
Our script's not written down.
Excuse me, David. Stop talking over me like a 5-year-old.
No, GreyKnight, I'm going to talk over you because you talk over us.
And you know what, David? You can fuck yourself. You've contradicted yourself constantly throughout this debate. You've pointed out yourself that you don't follow everything that's written down in your much-talked-about script because you don't believe in slavery. Morality is subjective.
Actually,
you've conceded
now
that.
You've Thank you for strawmanning me again.
You're welcome, David.
You're the
strawman the fuck out of
arguments.
you, and you, by strawmanning, you
You're
actually
the king of strawman arguments.
Your bullshit argument. Your double talk.
Now, you're the king of strawman arguments. Thank you. Thank you for showing your true colors.
Screeching that it's a straw man doesn't make it so, David.
And saying that you're denying that you're using a straw man argument doesn't mean
and screeching still doesn't make it so, David.
And denying it still doesn't make it so.
Prove that it's so, David. Where's the straw man?
Because first off, I never said that I don't follow. I never said that the Bible endorses slavery.
Well, you said that you follow a script. And yes, you did concede that the Bible endorses slavery. You did that.
No, I did not.
Now
you're strawmanning me again.
No. Well, then go back and watch it for. Let's throw it to the audience.
Yeah.
No, David, you said.
Audience, did you hear him say that? If you've been here from the beginning, that the Bible endorses slavery. Did you not hear that David and Joe both say that?
David, you said it wasn't slavery. You said it was indentured servitude, and it wasn't for life. And then we showed it was for life.
No,
and then you said, well, hey, can I finish my point? And you said it wasn't for life. And then after we made that point, then you said, oh, it wasn't ruthless. And then after we proved it wasn't ruthless, you guys created another excuse.
Why was that?
And whether or not you're living in denial land, David, the fact of the matter remains that in your script, that's written down. You're allowed to have slaves, and yet you don't think that that's all right. So there you go, David. Morality is subjective. You use something other than the script in order to find out what's right in your head.
You're over here saying morality is subjective, yet it's absolutely wrong to rape babies.
And you use exactly the same standard for determining what's moral behavior that I do. And it's not the Bible, David.
You know morality is absolute, but now you're being intellectually dishonest.
But you aren't convincing anyone. You aren't even convincing yourself.
Hey, GreyKnight.
I like how GreyKnight gets talking about
GreyKnight. The reason why we're having a disconnect is that sometimes we'll say something and then I don't know if it's purposeful or not, but then when you're repeating it back to us, you're not repeating it in the context that we do. So it almost seems like that's what you're doing.
No, you guys say one thing and then contradict yourself a minute later.
You guys are the ones saying one thing and then contradicting yourselves. And we expose that and then you guys deny it.
I'm waiting for you to expose anything, David.
I just exposed
is that your morality comes from something other than the Bible. No matter how many times you say that, it doesn't change the fact.
You say, yes, it is absolutely wrong to rape babies for fun. So is it subjective or is it absolute? You cannot have it both ways. You guys are trying to have your cake and eat it too.
Yes, you can have something that is subjective and absolute. I explained this at least twice before in this endless conversation.
Mutually exclusive terms.
Negative.
You cannot have subjective and absolute
philosophy
at the same time.
Take a couple of years and
you
get
do not understand philosophy. You do not understand the law of non-contradiction.
I explained what absolute can be, and I explained how you can be subjective and absolute.
Shit.
I explained it using Joe's own, whether or not that's what he actually thinks about whether it's always absolutely wrong to ever murder somebody.
Obviously, GreyKnight does not understand the law of non-contradiction. I think we need to go into the law of non-contradiction.
How is it obvious,
because
David?
He apparently
David, explain it to us. Explain it to us.
How have I
contradicted? The law of
non-contradiction
says that no two contradictory statements can be true in the same sense at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Either morality is absolute or it's subjective.
Those two are not.
You cannot have subjective absolute morality.
Those are not opposites, David.
They are opposites.
Then you don't understand philosophy or the morality.
You do not understand what subjective morality means.
No, David, you have a problem of creating a negation.
An absolute morality is something that a person is always going to say is wrong.
No, an absolute morality is
That
is
you
more-
don't
something-
understand the formal
No, absolute
explanation
morality
of that in
is
philosophy.
something that is
I'm
wrong
sorry.
at all
That's
times
just a
for
fact.
all people in all places. That is absolute morality.
Then you don't understand the definition
You
of the
do
word.
not understand absolute morality. You need to go back to a philosophy and learn what it is, because you apparently do not understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, did you take philosophy, David?
Yes, I did.
Which class?
I took critical thinking. I took intro to philosophy.
And I took comparative religions.
Yeah, and I
All
also
right,
took
so
physics. And I took,
Why
and I
do
took
you guys
physics.
consistently not produce valid negations?
We have produced valid negations.
No, you don't understand what negations are.
You guys have not provided any valid negations.
Says the man.
Like with the Euthyphro dilemma, either gods
Like, you
dictate
guys-
morality
you
or they
guys-
do not. Somehow
You know
you think
what?
that's not a dilemma.
We exposed how that's a false dilemma.
I'm getting kind of tired of the I'm rubber, you're glue defense from David.
Well,
I don't
We
think that we're. I
exposed-
think
we
we're basically
exposed
at
the false
an
dilemma.
impasse
I'm
here.
talking over GreyKnight because he keeps on talking over us. So I don't really give a fuck what GreyKnight
let me
says
say
anymore.
something. Let me say
Yeah,
Okay, let me.
that's a two-way
I could
street,
just as
brother.
easily turn around. I could just as easily turn around and say the existence of God is axiomatic. Disprove it.
Yeah, but you have no evidence for your
Just-
God.
No, it's not.
You said existence. Yeah, dude. You have no existence to you have no justify or no way to justify your morality or your existence, but you're saying it's axiomatic.
No, God doesn't justify morality or existence.
He doesn't because he is morality. We told you.
If he exists, you haven't justified this is a real thing.
Then why
Yeah,
does
but
morality change?
Morality. You can't justify.
Why does one set of morality apply to us and a different set?
Who cares?
Going back to the whole definition of absolute morality. Absolute morality means
That
something-
doesn't exist.
something is wrong for all absolute morality is something is wrong for all people at all times in all places.
If that's
Subjective
the
morality
you
would
want to
be-
go by, yeah, then okay,
That is the thing.
fine.
Subjective morality would be a matter of opinion. Like it'd be just a subjective. It'd just be what one person says is right and wrong compared to what another person says is right and wrong. It's
What do you
individual
do?
basis.
What do you do?
Opinion.
Justify you have a source of absolute morality.
What?
Justify you have a source of absolute morality. You never justify your God.
We
You just
have justified.
No, you just say he does things. You just your God is a description and nothing else.
Okay.
Nothing
Let me
else.
try and give you. Let me try and explain this to
imaginary
you with
creature.
an analogy. I told you this analogy before, and hopefully this time explain it, it'll like click with you. Imagine that we have two completely different maps of Africa, and we want to figure out which map is the most correct one. In order for us to do that, we would have to actually look at an outside standard of Africa, i.e. the continent itself, to like figure out which map is the most correct. However, if Africa does not exist, then both the maps are irrelevant. You guys claim that there is no objective standard of morality, so you make any claims of morality irrelevant
Hey, GreyKnight, do me
in
a
the
favor.
same sense.
Hey, GreyKnight,
You
Does
totally-
that make better sense to you?
You totally
I'm
blew up
talking
what
to
I
you
just
from
said.
now on.
No, you can talk to both of us. You didn't justify God existed. You were talking about morality
I'm
again.
talking to you from now on.
Hey, GreyKnight, look in the chat for a second, all right?
Sure.
Justify your God exists. Stop giving me these analogies of other
Again.
things. Get to your God. Get to the point. Cut to the chase.
I just explained it to you.
No, you talked
I
about
just explained
morality.
it to you.
Justify your
Yeah.
God exists.
Now, in order for us to know, like, we know God exists by morality.
Prove it. God. How do you know God created morality?
He didn't create morality. God is morality.
All right, prove God's morality. You're just stating things. I can't. You just want me to let you just say whatever you want to say and make that
No,
true.
I'm saying because morality is absolute.
Okay, prove that. You can't. You just want to say whatever you
Okay.
say, and
I've
you're good.
already-
And you
I've
hold
already
me to a
proven that
standard.
to
You don't.
Like, you said that it's absolutely wrong to rape babies for fun. If there's just one absolute, you conceded that there's one absolute morality.
I didn't.
Okay, so you think it is absolutely?
I'm not going to get distracted, David.
So you think it is?
God's existence.
It could be. Is it absolutely wrong to rape babies for fun?
You like to critique my point of view. You never want to justify your own position.
You a question.
I want you.
Is it absolutely wrong to rape babies for fun?
Is your definition of absolute morality that what comes from God?
I'm saying, well, absolute morality is it wrong for all people at all times and all places?
And are you saying absolute morality is from God's nature?
I'm asking you, is it wrong for all people at all times and all places?
Obviously not. Some people disagree.
Is it wrong? Is it wrong for all people at all times and all places?
Why are we distracting ourselves from morality?
No,
I'm asking you to justify your God. No, I'm asking you to justify your God. You keep changing the subject.
I am going to if you just answer the question. Is it absolutely wrong for all people?
No, you're not. I don't care about morality. Even if I have no explanation for morality, it wouldn't matter.
That's what I'm saying, though. Your worldview cannot account for morality. My worldview can't account for morality.
David, I'm going to go ahead and assume you're right. I'm not agreeing with this, but just for the sake of argument, to get past this impasse.
So you're going to give up your atheism to defend your atheism?
No, you're retarded.
Huh.
I'm going to assume, just to get past this morality thing, let's assume I have no way to explain morality or anything like that. Get to your God.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Like, my worldview can't account for morality.
No, how can it? How could it possibly do that?
Because, okay, again, like I said before, like God is morality.
No, you're just telling me things. You're just defining God into existence.
Let me finish. It logically follows if God is morality and we're made in God's image, that we would be moral creatures.
If God existed, prove He exists though. We don't even know we have a God. I'm not going to start with this assumption.
Image actually
we know that God is because we know right and wrong.
That's your whole argument. It's the biggest circular argument in the world. It's so invalid.
All arguments are circular.
So yours is circular.
It's circular.
Wait, is your argument circular?
Even your argument is circular.
Your argument's circular, though. Is your argument circular, David?
All arguments are circular.
David, is your argument circular?
All arguments are circular.
No, they aren't, David. Only if you don't understand logic when it's pure
I'm talking to Fareed.
Is your argument?
Yeah, well, I'm talking to you, David.
All arguments are circular, Fareed.
David, are you making an argument?
All arguments are circular.
So you're making an argument, though, right?
Yeah.
All right. So your argument's circular. Great. From your point of view. All right. So you've admitted. All right. You've admitted your. You've admitted your.
Circular, David.
I'm not talking to you, Fareed.
Raise the whole playing field because your argument is irrational.
I'm talking to Fareed.
I'm talking to you.
Well, I'm talking to Fareed.
Well, then.
It doesn't even matter because
talked to and unable to respond.
Okay, I'm talking to Fareed right now.
Well, if I keep on making points and you don't refute them, I'm comfortable with that.
Your points are invalid. I already pointed out how your points are invalid, and you're too intellectually dishonest.
Well, David, you've already admitted you have a flawed argument.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you said it's circular.
I said all arguments are circular.
You've admitted your argument's circular. You haven't demonstrated mine is.
No, I have demonstrated that your because you said you used the I think therefore I am, and that is a circular argument.
Right. In order to get to your God exists.
You said I exist because I think, and I think because I exist. That's a circular argument.
David, in order to get to your God exists, you have to make an argument that I can't know I exist. That's how honest your position is.
Do you understand what a circular argument is?
Yeah, do you?
Yes.
All right, explain it to me, buddy.
A circular argument is an argument that begs the question, that restates the premise.
All right, you've given 2 words for a circular argument. What is that?
I just told you what a circular argument is.
It begs the question.
It begs the question. It restates the premise.
All right, so your argument begs the question, right?
All arguments are circular.
No, your
argument begs the question too, because your argument is I think therefore I am, and pretty much what you're saying is I exist because I think, but I think because I exist. That's a circular.
So David, you're essentially saying my argument is invalid because it begs the question?
Well, what I'm saying is my argument better comports with reality because I can account for things such. Hold on, let me finish. Don't interrupt me. I said I can account for things such as existence, morality, ethics, logic, all of that. Your worldview cannot account for those, and we exposed how your worldview cannot account for those.
All right, can I answer now?
Yeah.
All right, David, you've claimed to account for those things.
Joe wants to say something real quick.
Wait, no. Can I reply? You have claimed to account for those things. You have not, in fact, accounted for them.
What were you going to say?
You have claimed to account for those things. You have not, in fact, accounted for them.
And I have showed you how.
No. You just said God exists because He exists. No. Your morality exists because it comes from a God. You haven't justified God exists.
Okay, I'll explain this to you again for the millionth time.
You haven't justified God exists.
We know morality. We know morality because we're made in the image of God.
But you haven't proved God exists.
If God did not exist, we wouldn't know morality.
You don't know that.
There would be no morality. Just like the analogy I gave you, the Africa analogy. If there is no Africa, both maths are irrelevant.
If there was no morality, then that would mean there's no morality. It wouldn't mean there's a God.
If there is no morality, that means there's no God.
All right, so maybe there's no morality and there's no God.
God, then there's no morality.
All right, maybe there's no morality, David.
Well, no,
so there's no morality. You're going to say that.
Maybe, who knows?
Hey,
okay?
Nice. No.
Hold on, Joe has something to say.
This is a point for the whole debate. I think that we should, although you don't agree with the way GreyKnight debated, I think we should be responding to him.
Can you get a little closer to the mic, Joe?
I apologize for losing my temper and telling you should fuck yourself, but you really need to allow the other parties in the debate to have a chance to speak.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing about you. You interrupted us too, so I apologize.
There were quite a few F-bombs going both ways. I'm going to just say that
I apologize for losing my temper too.
So David and...
But
I just
think
don't.
that it's getting a little bit past my bedtime on the East Coast here anyway, so I think I'm gonna punch my clock and head out of here. Yeah. But I will say one last thing in conclusion, that the better formulation for cogito ergo sum would be cogito ergo cogito sum ergo deficit. You could look that up if you'd like.
What does that mean, GreyKnight?
I think
it means go fuck yourself.
No, it means I think, therefore I think I am, therefore I fail. And
say that again?
I think, therefore I think I am, therefore I fail.
I think, therefore I am, therefore I fail.
I think, therefore I think I am, therefore I'm failing.
I think, therefore I think I am, therefore I am failing.
Yeah, it's a joke from a good friend of mine.
That sounds like
cogito ergo cogito sum ergo deficit.
Yeah, that sounds like it sounds like a modification of Descartes.
Yeah, it definitely is, and a pretty witty one at that. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for having me. Thank you for inviting me, Fareed, and I would certainly enjoy doing this again. If you guys decide to try it.
I do apologize for
apology accepted.
Yeah, I just get mad when I keep on getting interrupted. So.
Fair enough.
And I admit that I was doing it back to you, so.
Well, two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah. So that's why I apologize.
All right. Well, take it easy, guys. Thanks very much, and have a good night.
You have a good night, dude.
Take care,
Joe.
Yeah.
Good night, Fareed. Good night, Dave. Good night, everybody.
All right. You guys are so intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you love us anyway, Fareed.
Are you offline now? Off the air?
No, we're still on there. It's going to kick us off in about 20 minutes or whatever. So were you going to get to your God existing?
We already established how you know God exists.
You know He exists. That's all right.
No, I don't. Your argument can't be I can tell you what you think. That's essentially
that. No, God has revealed Himself to all people so that all people are without excuse.
But He hasn't revealed Himself to me.
He's revealed everybody. He's revealed Himself to all people through creation and through general revelation and special revelation.
So you could read my mind. You know if He's actually revealed this to me?
I'm going off of what His Word says.
Well, His Word's wrong.
That's according to what your Word says.
All right. How would you know if God was lying to you?
God can't lie.
How would you know that?
Because He revealed that in His Word.
How would you know He can't lie? What if that's a lie?
Because lying would go directly against his nature.
But what if his description of his nature was a lie? Meaning, how can you test God's claims if you believe he's making claims?
God, okay, again, I mean, we presuppose God's word.
So you can't test it, and you don't, in fact, know it's true. You just believe it.
You do know it's true. Like, it comports with reality.
How do you know it's true?
Because it's self-attesting.
How, explain that.
Like, the Bible verifies itself.
How,
It's authoritative within itself.
beg you the question yet again with your argument.
It's not begging the question.
Yeah, the Bible proves itself, God proves itself, God proves the Bible proves God. It's all a circular argument.
All arguments
not.
are circular. Yeah, they are. I just exposed how even your argument is circular.
Alright.
What? What? Are you there?
Yeah, you guys getting robbed or something?
No, the cats are meowing because they wanted to go use the litter box.
Yeah, but David's cat's afraid of me, so I went to open the door, and she took off running.
Alright, all puppies are dogs. Darby is a puppy. Therefore, Darby is a dog. Is that circular?
I said it again?
All puppies are dogs. Darby is a puppy. Therefore, Darby is a dog. Is that a circular
Yeah, it's saying
argument?
that you're stating the premise.
Oh my god. Alright.
It's saying that you're saying that you're essentially saying that all dogs are puppies and all puppies are dogs.
See, this is why I doubt you've taken a logic class, because in logic classes, you actually have to write out syllogisms in a mathematical way, and you'll get marked off if they're circular or if they're not circular. This would not be an example of a circular argument. So
we did do that. We wrote out syllogism. We went
and what did your logic professor say? Circular, 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 circular.
She even agrees that all arguments are circular.
They graded everything circular.
All arguments are circular.
Your logic teacher told you this?
When you push them back to their furthest, when you push them back to their most extreme, they're circular.
Okay.
Yeah.
But on their base, so at what level are they not circular?
I'm talking about when you take them down to their root, all arguments are simply circular.
But before they're taken down to their root, I'm guessing
they appear to not be circular.
But yours appears to be circular, and mine does not.
What?
Your position appears to be circular.
Yours does appear to be circular.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely so. I just exposed that because you used Descartes' syllogism where you said, I think, therefore I am. And I said, you're saying I exist because I think, but I think because I exist.
And it's impossible for me not to exist.
You're saying A equals B, but B equals A. That's a circular argument.
A equals B, but B equals A?
That's what you're saying.
Is that what I'm saying?
No, you're saying I think because I exist, and I exist because I think.
No, I'm saying in order to think, thinking requires existence. That's what I'm saying.
And I showed you how that's a circular argument.
That thinking requires existence. So that's
right. When you break that argument down, it goes like I think because I exist, and I exist because I think.
So you think it's logically invalid for
A equals B and B equals A.
You're saying it's logically invalid for me to assume I'm thinking that I exist?
I'm saying your worldview cannot account for anything.
All right, how does your worldview account for anything?
Your worldview cannot, my worldview accounts because I'm made in the image of God.
But you don't know God exists.
God is rational, so therefore we're rational beings.
So
God is morality, so therefore we're moral beings. We
So
know
your God
right
would
and
make.
wrong.
So your worldview would make sense if God existed.
The only we're saying God exists because of the impossibility of the contrary. If God didn't exist, then like we wouldn't exist.
You don't know that.
Yeah, I do.
You don't even know what God is. Have you seen God?
And actually, technically, if you really want to get technical, God doesn't exist because God is outside
All
time.
right. Well, thanks for your time.
God stands outside of time.
Wait,
God,
you just
no,
said God doesn't
like,
exist. I'm good with that.
Yeah,
All
listen
right.
to me. I said
God
God
doesn't
doesn't exist. God
Right, I
just
heard you.
is.
Yeah, he doesn't exist. I got you.
God, yeah. Don't take me out of context. I
All
said
right.
God just
You
is.
said God doesn't exist.
Yeah, God just is.
Yeah, so
God
is something
just
that
is.
doesn't. God just is something that does not exist. You're right.
No, God just
doesn't
is.
exist
Now
the way
you're
we-
taking me out of
It
context.
doesn't exist the way we would define existence
Yeah.
here.
All
Thank
right,
you
how
for
would you
showing.
define existence?
We went over this before.
Something that stands in time.
Oh, so it has to be in time to exist.
Yes.
God is timeless. God is
Hmm.
eternal. God stands out of time. So God just is. Now we're getting into ontology, into being.
So you're saying things can exist outside of time.
We're saying God exists outside of time.
Well,
So God just is.
Is God something? Or nothing?
He's got something.
God
Or
is.
nothing.
God is.
Something.
God is. God is.
All right. Does he exist?
Period.
But he does exist. He's outside of time.
God is. Period.
All right. How would I distinguish a God?
You know,
How would I distinguish a? I'm not even gonna say God. How can I prove something does not exist if it is outside of time?
And proving the exact opposite.
Explain
how would
that.
you prove something does not exist
If it's outside of time.
if it's outside of time?
Right.
The only thing that's God's outside of time. There's nothing else. There's nothing else outside
I'm not
of
talking
time.
about God. I want you to explain how this is cogent. How can I prove something did not exist if it was outside of time?
There's nothing outside of time.
All right, God doesn't exist yet again. Wow, I'm getting
No,
really
we're
good
not
at
talking. No, I said only God is outside of time.
this. You said nothing is outside of time.
Yeah, because you're not talking about God. We're not talking about God. We're talking about things.
So God isn't something. It's nothing.
God just is.
Is what?
He just is.
What?
He just is.
That doesn't make sense, David. Explain what he is.
Have you studied ontology?
I'm not going to change the subject. What is God?
Hold on. Do you know? I'm not changing the subject. Have you studied ontology?
Yes, I just want you to tell me what God is.
And have you studied ontology? Do you know what ontology is?
Go ahead, tell me.
Do you know? No, I'm asking you. Do you know?
No, I don't. Go ahead, tell me.
The study of being.
Okay.
So that's
Get
when
to your
I
point.
say if you understand ontology, then you would understand when I say God just is. That actually
What?
that's an irrelevant. God just is.
All right, so you're telling me God exists somewhere that is out of time.
No, I'm not saying God exists. I'm saying God just is.
So you're not saying God exists.
I'm saying God is.
Is what?
He just is, dude. It's just,
I think you need to study ontology.
I'm telling you, how could how could I disprove your God to you?
You need to study ontology, and then you'll understand what I'm saying.
How could I distinguish God from something that does not exist?
God just is.
But how could I distinguish God from something that doesn't exist, something that is not real? Is something that is not real, does it exist in time?
Something that's not real.
Yes.
No, I'm not. I don't think I'm understanding your question.
If something doesn't exist, it's not real, does it exist in time?
If it doesn't exist, it doesn't exist.
In time, so it doesn't exist in time.
I'm saying if it doesn't exist, it doesn't exist.
Right, and it wouldn't exist in time either, would it?
I'm saying if something
You
does
don't
not,
want to say the words, do you?
I'm saying if something does not exist, it does not exist.
All right. Would that include existence in time?
Existence in time?
Yes.
I
If
don't
something
know.
didn't exist, does that not existence include?
It depends on what we're talking about.
Oh, so there are some things that don't exist that could exist in time?
God is outside of time. God's
I'm
beyond
talking
time.
about something that doesn't exist.
Like what?
Something that does not exist.
Like what?
A leprechaun.
Like I can't think of something that like I can't.
A
Like,
leprechaun.
You're positing a hypothetical situation now, which
All right,
is something
what-
that you can't do.
An invisible pink unicorn that does not exist, would that exist in time?
Again, you're positing a hypothetical, which you said we can't do.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you said in the beginning of the debate we can, not to posit hypotheticals.
No, I didn't. I said instead you weren't answering my questions. You're answering with hypotheticals. I'm giving you direct questions and you're not answering them. So I'm trying to give you a hypothetical. Perhaps you could answer. Now, if you want, I can restate the direct question and then you won't answer it again.
Restate the question.
All right. Could something that does not exist, would it be in time?
Something that does not exist, would it be in time?
Would it exist in
I
time?
don't know.
You don't
again,
know. It
depends
doesn't
on
exist.
It depends on what we're talking about.
Something that does not exist.
Okay, and what's your definition of existence?
That which is.
That which is?
That is real.
Okay, God is.
I'm not talking about God. I'm talking about something else. I'm talking about something that doesn't exist. Would it be in time?
So something that is not. So something that is not.
Right. If something didn't exist, would it be in time?
I don't know, because I can.
How can it be in time if it doesn't exist?
Like
It's
you're asking,
not real.
You're asking me to talk about something like a hypothetical that I can't imagine.
I'm saying if something is not real, does it exist anywhere? If it's not actually there, if it's just made up, does it exist in time?
Okay, maybe not.
Maybe or no. If you just make up something, if I make up a pink unicorn, it doesn't exist. Will I go find one?
All right. So what's your point?
Yes or no?
I just said no.
All
so
right.
What's your point?
All right. How can I distinguish your God from that pink unicorn that doesn't exist?
Because God revealed Himself.
No. How can I distinguish it by definition?
I just told you because God revealed Himself.
But what is God? You have defined a God in a way that is identical to this pink unicorn.
God
exists outside of time.
God just is. God is.
Is what?
Like that pink unicorn did not reveal itself. God did reveal Himself.
If I read,
that's how you could tell the difference between God and what does not exist.
If God never revealed Himself, would He still exist?
If I read, just how much longer do we have before this cuts us off? That way we
probably like 10 minutes, 8 minutes.
All right.
Like I said, God like you asked, your question was, how can I distinguish between God and something that does not exist?
Correct.
Something that God revealed Himself. That's how.
So
we're made in the image of God.
So God reacts with the natural world. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, essentially.
So God exists in the natural world.
I'm saying that God can affect the natural world.
How?
Because God created the natural world.
But how can He affect it?
Well, I mean, He did it back then. He did it with miracles.
How?
To confirm.
What is a miracle to you?
Well, raising someone from the dead is a miracle.
And we know this happened, right?
Yeah, we do.
How do we know that?
500 witnesses.
Yeah, 500 witnesses.
We have 500 accounts?
We don't have to have 500 accounts.
Well, you and I seem to have a totally different definition of what a witness is.
You're asking me to tell you. You're asking me to bring up 500 accounts when the people back then were largely illiterate.
So if you go to court, how do you think they define a witness? Something someone states, or an actual account?
A witness is someone who actually saw an event actually happen.
Right. So if I go to court and I have a witness for a crime, they have to have a testimony, right?
Yeah.
What use is a witness with no testimony?
And I'm not saying they don't have a testimony. They don't
Oh,
have
you
a
have
written
500
testimony.
testimonies?
Yes, I have 500 testimonies. They're not 500. They're probably
Really?
not 500 written testimonies.
Well,
but
then you don't
there's
have them.
500.
Well, then what? In what sense do you have those testimonies, David?
Okay. Again, let me give you the historical backdrop of this. Like when the Apostle Paul challenged the Corinthian readers to, when he brought that up, he was like saying there's 500. He challenged them to go talk to those 500 witnesses themselves if they don't believe him. And
Right.
and if he was lying about that, like, no, he would not have said that if he was lying, because they would have easily discredited him right away.
So Paul
Just
was
like-
telling the truth because he's not a liar?
Just by going to those 500 people, if Paul was lying, they could have went to the 500 people and they would have said, "No, what's he talking about? We didn't see that." And then Paul would have been discredited right then and there.
But my point is, you claim you have 500 witnesses with 0 testimonies from the 500.
Okay.
You have one
we-
person claiming 500 witnesses. You don't actually have 500
Yeah, we
witnesses.
do. We have.
All right,
we
where
have,
are they?
We have.
Give me an example of
we have
one of
12
them.
witnesses right here.
You don't have 12
witnesses
witnesses?
right here.
No?
Yeah, in the New Testament,
All
12
12?
witnesses.
Oh, really? There's 12 Gospels?
What?
12 Gospels?
No, there's 12 apostles.
Right, and only 4 of them wrote Gospels?
Actually, Peter wrote a letter. Paul wrote a letter. Timothy wrote a letter.
All right.
Mark.
I'm not going to get way too into this. You haven't demonstrated 500 witnesses or one single testimony from
I have
500.
demonstrated. I showed you. Now
You
you're
have
just. Now
500
you're.
te-
Now,
So you have 500
I
testimonies.
showed you. No, I showed you the witnesses that we do have.
So someone's saying there's a witness that has value to you when there, in fact, is no evidence of that
No,
witness?
Someone's saying you can go talk to these 500 witnesses, and then you go in to talk to those 500 witnesses, and then they confirm it. That has value.
Oh, they confirmed it?
Yeah,
So
obviously.
they wrote down. So some guy wrote down what these 500 people said. All 500.
Again, you're not understanding what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm understanding. You don't
Like,
have any witnesses.
Paul told those Corinthian readers to go talk to those 500 witnesses if they don't believe him.
So
If Paul was lying, when they went to go talk to those 500 witnesses, they would have said, "No, we did not see anything. Paul's being dishonest," and
So-
Paul's credibility would have been diminished. But
So
the fact that those Corinthian readers went and talked to those 500 witnesses, and they all said he's telling the truth to them, and they believed them, they like that holds weight. In any courtroom setting, if you have 500 witnesses all saying the same thing, that would be enough.
So how did they look up the 500 witnesses?
They were well known. There was
The name. 500 people are just well known. People memorize 500 people. It's just a common thing people all knew.
for all we know, Paul could have been taught 500 witnesses in the city of Corinth. Corinth was a huge a huge city. There could have
Okay.
easily been 500 witnesses there.
All right. How did they look up the 500?
They were probably people that they knew.
All right.
I don't know how they looked them up.
Well, I mean, we have no accounts of these 500 people. It fascinates me. This is one of the worst. I can't believe any Christian would ever use this argument, because it is literally. And I used to claim to be a Christian. I would never even imagine using this argument. Some guy said Some guy said 500 people sell something. Well, he wouldn't lie about it. 500
They would
witnesses.
don't.
There we go. Spike the ball. Come on.
Okay, you're straw manning me. I'm saying that when they go talk to those 500 witnesses, like if Paul was lying, then his reputation would have been tarnished.
I'm saying you don't have 500 witnesses.
I'm saying we have I'm not saying we have 500
You have
written
claims.
eyewitnesses.
You have claims of 500 witnesses.
I'm not
Perhaps-
saying
Perhaps
on.
one is from Paul, and perhaps one is from the Corinthians, But you don't have the actual 500.
I'm not saying, I never once said we have 500 written accounts.
You don't have 500 witnesses.
I'm not saying we have 500 written accounts or 500 written down.
Then how is that a witness to anything if you have no accounts?
We have eyewitness accounts. We don't have 500, but we do have eyewitness accounts.
You're right. You don't have 500 witness accounts. That's right. You don't have 500 witnesses.
We have the eyewitness testimony of the apostles themselves.
But not of 500 people.
We have the eyewitness testimony written down. We're talking about written down. If you're talking about written down.
Well, what else would it be, David? They didn't have video cameras.
If we written down, we have eyewitness testimony of the apostles.
But not 500.
Oh my gosh. I'm not saying, okay, again, I think you're missing, when I said the 500 witnesses, like, I was talking about back then. Right now, I'm talking, like, when it comes to written down, we have 12 accounts written down because of the apostles.
Perhaps you do.
We
don't know these were actually accounts of Jesus.
Yeah, we do.
No, we don't know that.
We have no reason not to believe them.
We have lots of reasons to believe them.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do.
We had early testimony. They're the earliest works that we have.
Right. They're decades after he supposedly died.
No, they were only.
I'm so impressed.
They were only 15 to 20 years after he died.
Yeah, 20 years. That's 2 decades, buddy.
Then that's not that long.
Yeah, it is long. That's way long.
You know how long 9/11 was?
Yeah. We actually have contemporaneous accounts of that, don't we?
But 9/11 we still remember that clear as day though. Without reading anything, we still remember that clear as day. I still remember exactly where I was at, what I was doing.
I think it'd be strange if people started reporting on 9/11 in 2021.
Psychology has already proven that when you go through a traumatic experience, you remember that clearly for the rest of your life. Like, if I saw someone raised from the dead, that's a pretty traumatic experience. You're not going to forget that.
So if people started reporting on 9/11 in 2021, that would be a good evidence to you. That wouldn't sound suspicious. It's only 20 years.
If people were still taught on 9/11, like that actually proves my point. They still remember 9/11.
No, if people started reporting on it in 2021, that would be good evidence to you.
They weren't reporting on it. Okay, again, you're assuming that the apostles waited 20 years before they started reporting on it. That's not true. They were reporting on it shortly. They didn't write it down until 20 years later.
Right.
They were reporting it way before that, the whole time before that.
We don't have any evidence that there were any accounts during his life.
Yeah, we do.
Give me one.
The Gospels.
Those are written later.
Oh my gosh.
And you said it was only 20 years just a second ago.
Yeah, and they still they still remembered that.
Yeah, but you've already admitted it wasn't during his life, and I just got a 5-minute warning just to let you know.
When you see certain things in your life, when you see traumatic things in your life, that sticks with you forever. You do not forget them.
And David, I don't know if you heard me. I just got a 5-minute. David, one sec. I'm not arguing. Hold
on. Back then, the way the Jews were, their memory was way better than ours because they were trained to remember. Their memory was sharp. They were able to remember things. Because, I mean, they train their memories like that.
Hey, David, I'm not arguing real quick. I'm just telling you, I got a warning that said 5 minutes, so we probably have like 3 minutes left on here. It was like a minute ago. I wasn't trying to interrupt your argument. I was just telling you it's about to cut off, just so you know I'm not knifing you off.
Well, do you just want to, continue this again some other time?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and end it, but, yeah. No witnesses, and you said God didn't exist, so I'm happy with our debate so far.
I showed you that there are witnesses, and God just is.
You said he didn't exist.
I said God just is.
And you said he didn't exist.
You should look up ontology.
All right.
And study that a little bit, but yeah.
Everyone saw you say he didn't exist, so
Everybody
that's all
saw,
I wanted,
everybody saw that I said that God just is.
and that he doesn't exist.
Because existence means you have to be in time. God is
Right.
eternal. God just is.
Sure.
Because God's outside of time.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and go to bed.
Yes.
I had fun talking to you and stuff. I know you and Grey Knight got a little heated, but
Look,
I guess it made it more entertaining for everyone watching.
yeah, I
but
gotta go to bed.
I had fun talking to you guys, and
Yeah.
have a good rest of your night. Oh, Joe,
You too.
If I read just
it's just Fareed. It's not Fareed.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Joe, good night too, and David, good night, and
Yeah, it's for Reed.
anyway,
Yeah, I gotta do some more homework, so I'm gonna be up for a while.
cool, man.